The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's good, YouTube? What's good, man? We here. What a press conference. I'm here to just, give some little quick thoughts about the Xander Zayas, Jaron Ennis press conference today. It was out there in New York City. I know a lot of us in the fight game in the boxing world are really excited about it. I don't care if you're rooting for Boots. I don't care if you're rooting for Xander. I don't care if you're neutral. I think it's safe to say everybody in the fight game is excited about this fight because you got to respect Xander Zayas for being such an ambitious champion. And everybody's also really excited about the fact that Jaron Ennis is finally in like a real big fight against another young fighter. So it's a beautiful time, and it was a really interesting press conference, and we'll get into all that here in a second. Before I get into all that, do me a favor, guys. Do me a favor. There's 10 of you guys here already. Do me a favor. Smash that like button. Smash that like button so this gets pushed out into the YouTube algorithms. I haven't been live in 10 days, so I had to come live and just talk about this and give you guys my thoughts because there's a lot to unpack. First and foremost, and I don't want to waste no time. First and foremost, the main thing for me, just watching Xander and Boots stand near each other, is wow. Xander, and I think Jaron Ennis is a better fighter, on the inside than Xander Zayas, but I'm having some serious reservations about if Jaron Ennis can push Xander Zayas back. And if he can't push Xander Zayas back consistently, like, does he have a game plan? Can he? If they get in there and Boots can't push Xander Zayas back, can he beat him another way? Because quiet is kept. Because a lot of people will say, like, oh, well, Xander's fought nothing but bums, and the guys he's fought aren't that good. He's never fought a guy with a style like Boots, which I would say he's never fought anybody as good as Boots. But he did fight one guy. There was one guy Xander fought that I think does some similar things to Boots in terms of his ring craft. Obviously, this guy can't punch as well as Boots. He's not as good as Boots, but he showed some similar looks. And that guy, if you go back and you watch the fight, was Quincy Lavalas from earlier in Xander's career. Quincy just doesn't have no offense at all, so I won't say he's like Boots in that regard. But in terms of his craft and how he was able to be slick in there, and even down to the way he used his trunks, like the tassels and stuff. That's probably the closest thing he's fought to Boots in his career. And I thought he handled that fight pretty well. Now, obviously, the difference is going to be that unlike Quincy Lavalas, Boots is going to be throwing these bricks, like straight like that. We throwing them bricks right at Xander. But so we'll have to see if Xander can get his head up the line, if he can parry the shots, if he can slip to the outside or the inside so he doesn't get hit, if he can use his feet to get out of range. I mean, that's really the thing is when Jaron Ennis starts putting his punches together and the speed comes at him, does Xander Zayas have the craft to slip those punches and those kind of things? But let's unpack it. Before I get into the press conference, let me go to the comments. Let me acknowledge the 5 folks that are here. Alexander Rambo says, I got Xander. Shout out to you. TSM Harder says, what's up, BT? What are your top 3 fights happening this year other than Leo? I can't answer that question if it don't include Angelo, but I'll answer that later. Ask me that later on in the live. The presser was more contentious than I thought it would be. I actually thought the presser actually for me is exactly what I thought it would be. I thought that you would get Jaron Ennis, excited, doing a whole lot of talking, and I thought Xander would talk a lot as well, because I think both these guys understand what this fight is. This is a chance for both these guys to really stick their flag in the ground as a legit cemented pound for pound fighter, and it's every fighter, right? Every fighter at the top level has, I would say, in their career 3 to 4 legacy defining fights. I would say for these guys, this definitely qualifies as such. So for sure, I definitely think it's that, and that's why you're getting these guys talking. Zayas beats Ennis. It's possible. It's possible. BT's looking slimmer. The jaw started to chisel out. Yeah, I've been training. I sparred for the first time recently in a while, so that was pretty cool. I'm gonna do some more on Friday. So yeah, we're doing our thing here in camp with Angelo Leo. By the way, May 9th, Angelo Leo, Ryan Celine. Don't forget it. We're gonna show you guys. I know Boots and Xander, and I know this is a Boots and Xander live, but he's damn good too. And you guys are gonna see come May 9th, and after that, and after that, and after that, and that's why we're here in camp right now, at an undisclosed location. So yeah. But getting to the press conference, man. So the first thing that happened in the press conference, and it didn't really surprise me at all. Jaron and Ennis started talking about this 55-45, 55-45, this, that, and the third. Boots always does this every press conference. He did it with Cody Crowley, I think. He did it with Stanianis. He's always talking about bet your purse, bet this, bet that. And it's like a power tactic. I feel like it's a power tactic, and a lot of fighters use it to try to create the illusion or create the belief that the other fighter doesn't believe in themselves and that they have the supreme confidence, right? And so I thought he would do that. He did it. Xander pretty much said, "Look, we got a date. We're gonna fight when we fight, and you're gonna see." One thing that I found very interesting about the press conference was that. Boots told Xander told Boots pretty much that you're gonna see how serious I am, and if you don't know how serious I am, go ask your sparring partner. And he made sure he pointed to Omari Jones, because for those of you who know, for those of you who don't know, Omari Jones, the Olympian, he's supposedly going to be part of the Jaron Ennis training camp for this fight. He's a Florida guy. He's from the Orlando area. Xander Zayas is from South Florida, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, more so Fort Lauderdale area. And so they've sparred before, and Xander said, "Look, if you don't think this shit is serious, I'll go ask your sparring partner Omari Jones." That's pretty much what he told him. So yeah, I mean, I think I don't really put too much stock into who got the better of who in sparring, because in sparring you're always working on things. But I think it's actually a good opponent sparring selection for Boots to get Omari in there. Omari has a similar frame. He's a high level fighter himself. He'll have probably some insight to give Boots on Xander. So I like that aspect of it for him. Boots also made a big deal. Boots made a big deal about the fact that Xander Zayas has a big head, and he was saying that Xander doesn't move his head out the center line, because he took offense to some things that Xander said in the interview, where Xander pretty much stated that Jaron Ennis gets hit flush with a lot of punches, right? Because in fights against Karen, there were periods of the fight where Karen was able to get some shit off, not one punch, but like 2 or 3 punches, and he was just highlighting that. And so Boots is like, "Look, man, you slow. First of all, you slow. Second of all, you got a big ass head. Third of all, it's humongous, and you're gonna see. I'm pinpoint accurate, and you're gonna see come fight night." So I like this fight. I can already see it in the press. You can already see it in the press conference. Both these guys, throughout the duration of their careers, they're not really big talkers. Like Xander Zayas has always had like this Derek Jeter, always saying the right thing, going for him in all his press conferences. But now this is a real big time fight, and so my bad. And so now you got Xander showing a little bit more confidence, a little bit more of his personality. You got Boots showing a little bit more of his personality, and I saw a lot of the Boots fans on Twitter getting excited about the fact that Jaron Ennis is doing a whole lot more talking. So it's a beautiful thing, guys. I think we should honestly take this time as boxing fans to take a deep breath. Let's rejoice. Let's be happy. Let's celebrate, because I come on here on YouTube all the time, and I'm mad about a lot of stuff. I'm always talking about fighters not fighting fights, and sanctioning bodies and corruption and all the negative things that come with boxing at the top level in the industry. But every now and then, a fight comes along, and it just reminds you of why you love boxing. So you got to give credit to Xander Zayas and Jaron Ennis for stepping up to the plate, not having the egos, and putting together a great fight for the fans. I'm listen. I'm going to be there. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. I will be in New York City when this fight happens. All right? I will be there. So if any of y'all are going to be in New York City, my ass will be there for this fight, because it's one of those fights that you can't miss, But anyway, let me go to the comments, man. Shout out to everybody here. Taylor says, Xander be talking that cash shit, man. He's a good talker. He is. I'm trying to tell y'all. Yes, I know he's from Puerto Rico, but that boy Xander Zayas is a product of the Broward County public education system. That was going to school in South Florida, and it's starting to come out more. That South Florida in him is coming out more in these pressers. Yo, Rick was clowning in your interview when he said keep hitting the heavy bag, but yeah, Boots is stepping on shit. Most likely he got a lot to prove. Well, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. One of the things that I would like to see Boots do in this fight is to not load up so much, and because he's used to punching on these smaller guys, and Xander made a big deal about that. Xander made light of that in the press conference, saying, "Look, I'm not Sergey Lipinets. I'm not Karen Chukajan. I'm not these smaller guys used to fighting. I'm a real, natural, big 154 pounder, and you're gonna see what it is when you get in the ring with me, right?" So my thing is, because of that, I would like Boots to box behind his jab more and not load up so much. And I said that in my video that I dropped earlier today. Which by the way, hold on, let me stand up for a second because I got to pace back and forth. Listen, for all of y'all out there who got all angry because a lot of the Jaron Ennis fans got mad when I put out a video and I was highlighting Jaron Ennis's flaws and what he needs to tighten up if he wants to beat Xander Zayas, right? And y'all were like, "Oh well, BT Xander has things to tighten up on as well." And guess what? I agree with you. And I made a whole video about what Xander needs to tighten up on, and I posted it this morning. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Shout out to you, Jeffrey the Pig. Good to see you, champ. Good to see you, champ. Hope all is well. Um, oh, so yeah. Xander made a big deal about the fact that Jaron Ennis hasn't fought anybody as big as him. You know, Boots said pretty much, look, man, there's levels to the game. I'm gonna show you levels in the game. I'm gonna show you that you're not on that level, that you're too slow, that you don't move your head, that I'm just cut from a whole different cloth that you've never seen before, right? And it sounds really, really good. But the best part about it is like no matter how much talking you do, right? No matter what Xander says, right? No matter what Xander says about Boots, what Boots says about Xander, ultimately both guys got to go in the ring, and the guy with the better game plan, the guy with the better just conditioning, the guy with the better smarts, the guy with more composure, the guy with more will to win in their spirit. When things get tough and shit gets hot in there, that's what ultimately wins the fight. Shout out to my guy Ace Money says, I know Stanianis isn't Zayas, but that Boots that broke down the body and was tight with many of us is a tough out. No, for sure, for sure. I think even in that fight though, he still was getting hit with too many shots for my liking. And I think Stanianis really isn't as strong as Xander. I mean, like he's maybe physically stronger, but I'm saying his punches aren't as pinpoint accurate as Xander. Xander's eyes when you're in there and exchange with him and he puts his punches together, he's very accurate, guys. I was just watching his fight against Quincy Lavalas before I came on this live because I wanted to revisit that fight a little bit. Because I've been watching a lot of tape on both guys. You know, I went back, I rewatched some more Boots last night. I watched Xander tonight. You know, I'm here watching a lot of Rai Salim because we're in camp. You know, but yeah, when Xander puts them together, he does a great job placing his shots. And so my thing is, I'm really intrigued to see if Boots can move him in the pocket because at first, you know, I was like, damn. Well, I think Boots might have an advantage on Xander because he seems to be the physically stronger guy. But then, you know, I went back, I watched some Xander fights, and then I saw the press conference today. And if you guys saw the face-off, Xander told Boots, he said, "You small." He said, "You're too small." He told Boots, "You're too small." So, you know, it's all talk for now. We'll see if that really is the case come fight night. But shit, if that is the case, if Boots is too small to move Xander consistently back, does Jaron Ennis have a game plan? Does he have a consistent weapon he can use if he can't push him back? You know, does Boots have the mental discipline to not get frustrated and outpoint a guy like Xander Zayas? You know, can he make those adjustments? Because as talented and as gifted as Jaron Ennis is, let's be honest about him. he's pretty much had his way in the professional ranks of boxing. He has had to make too many adjustments in fights. When he decides he wants to knock a guy out, they normally get knocked out. If he decides he wants to hit him with an uppercut or a right hook, it normally happens. So when that doesn't happen, does he have the mental fortitude and composure to make those kind of adjustments? To me, from the Boots Ennis side of things, that is the fight within the fight. And listen, guys, we're gonna break this fight down so many ways. Like every year in boxing, every single year in boxing, there's about 3 or 4 fights. There's 3 to 4 fights every single year that like I'm really up for. But most of the time I'm just covering these fights. I'm doing my job. I'm giving y'all that world-class boxing content. I'm here. I'm doing all those things, right? But there's about 3 to 4 fights a year that your boy BT really, really gets up for. And this is one of those fights. This right here is going to be one of those fights. So I'm just happy that it's done. And congratulations to everybody on getting the fight. And may the best man win. And to win for us boxing fans. And us in the media as well gets covered. Shout out to TSM Harder. He says, off topic, with the super chat, he says, off topic, but will you go live for the Tension Nasukawa fight? I have no idea what I'm doing yet. Listen, guys, the only reason I even have time to go live today is because this is the rare off day in the Angelo Leo training camp. Most of the time, we out and about, we're running here, we're running there, running mountains, sparring, all kinds of stuff. So I just have a little bit of free time today, and that's why I decided to go live. That fight's on Saturday, I think in the morning. So I don't know. Just stay tuned. If I can, I will. I like that fight. I like that card. Tomoyo Suboy's in that card. If I can, I will. Mar the Prince says, BT, I know this live is dedicated to the Ennis Zayas presser, but I gotta ask, after Inoue's recent interview, do you think the Bam fight is likely? I have my doubts about it still, but if he's saying it and he's pushing for it, I think it can happen. I don't want to see that fight. I think it's one of the gayest fights in boxing. I would like Inoue to come to featherweight because as an Inoue fan of 11 years, I want to see Inoue try to become boxing's 7th 5-division champion. I think he's done enough at 122. I'd rather see Bam Rodriguez fight Tomoyo Suboy, who's the number 1 contender. But that's my opinion. Pac-Man says this matchup reminds me of the question: which is better at boxer, or who knows how to fight? Or okay, I'm a bit confused there. Shout out to Pops. Everybody say hello to Pops in the comments. He says Boots is probably the favorite, but I don't think you're going to walk all over the Puerto Rican like you think. Vamos Puerto Rico, win or lose, I'm right with the countrymen. Well, Pops, ain't they both your countrymen? Boots are your countrymen too. You in the U.S. Army. BT, will you be in the building for which fight? For Boots and Zayas? Yes. Do you guys want to hear the list? I'll tell you guys the next 4 fights I'm going to be at. Do you guys want to know? Do you guys want to know in chronological order the next 4 fights I'm going to be at? One of my favorite fighters, Olesius Iglesias, fights tomorrow for the IBF. Are you tuning in? Yes, I will be tuning in. I want to see that fight. I'm gonna do a post-fight review video for it. So yeah, but yeah, kind of just getting back to Xander and Boots, man. Bozy Ennis, shout out to Bozy Ennis. I like Bozy Ennis. I think he's a good trainer. Somebody asked me in the chat earlier, do I think Bozy Ennis is an overrated trainer? And the answer to that question is no, I don't. Every trainer has their flaws. They have their good parts, and they have the not so good parts. Bozy Ennis, whether you love him or hate him or think he's overrated or whatever the case may be, he took Jaron Ennis from a kid, right? You got to give him his due. From a kid, from scratch, which is always hard to do, from scratch, from the amateurs, and he made him a unified world champion. And he has a chance to make him a 2-time unified world champion on June 27th. So how could you say a guy like that is overrated? Now, do some of his fighters have flaws? Yes. Tamir Smalls and Jaron Ennis actually have a very similar flaw, right? And that flaw seems to be cutting off the ring. Tamir Smalls, that show when he fought Abel Ramos, and it's been shown in Jaron Ennis fights when he fought like Karen. But do I think he's a bad trainer over it? No, I think he got to this level for a reason. I think the odds are a bit insane. I see this as like a 60-40 or 55-45, but the odds got Zayas as over 300 and Boots at minus 450. Yeah, well, I think the odds makers, what they're probably looking at is they're probably looking at the fact that Jaron Ennis is the more physically mature fighter. He's had more pro fights. They don't really trust Xander Zayas' power. They're probably looking at that Jorge Sebastian Garcia fight when he won the world title. And then in the latter 3 rounds, Xander Zayas had to grind those last 3 rounds out. He's tying him up a lot. He's using a lot of tactics to kind of con his way to the last couple of rounds. So they're probably looking at those things and thinking that Jaron Ennis' experience and his physical strength will be able to really show themselves in the back half of the fight against Xander Zayas. Who do I favor, Takami or Angel Ayala? That's a good question. I'll go with Angel Ayala. I've never really been high on Takami. He's a good, cool fighter, but I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into it. They're both coming off losses. Takami got outclassed by Santiago. Takami got outclassed by Santiago. Ayala got the brakes beaten off of him by Yabuki. So Yabuki's one of those guys that might beat you, and you might never be the same. So it's definitely an interesting crossroads fight. But if Ayala is still relatively fresh, I got Ayala. Respect to you, bro. Love the show. You have a great boxing mind, but Boots better have a game plan and stop thinking he's just gonna stop everyone. Well, that's what I'm saying. And thank you for the kind words. That's what I'm saying. Jaron Ennis, and I said that in my video that I dropped earlier this morning about Xander Zayas' flaws and what could get him in trouble in this fight. But in that video, I said that Jaron Ennis needs to really not load up so much in this fight. And when I say load up, for those of you that don't know what I mean when I say load up, so if you're in the ring and you're fighting, right? I'm talking about when you really when you really torque the punch, or when you're really putting extra emphasis on the punch. Do not load up. Just keep things nice and simple. Use your speed. Place the shots, and don't look for the home run shot against Xander Zayas, because this is a naturally bigger guy. This is a guy that's a natural 154-pounder, and this is a guy where I think it's not going to be death by one shot or two shots. If you want the stoppage against Xander, it has to be death by 1,000 blows, death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you will. You got to put water in the basement, And so that's my worry for Boots. Even if you think Boots is the more skillful fighter than Xander, which I would say I have my questions about that. I think he's the more athletic fighter than Xander. I think he's probably the more creative fighter than Xander. But, like I said, there's some questions I have about Boots. And if he doesn't fight with the IQ level he needs to in this fight, he's going to put himself in a position where I think he might get outpointed. Because if you're loading up, and Xander's got good feet, he's smart, he counters well, he has a very wide punch selection of things he can go to. If he just keeps loading up, and he's throwing these shots, and let's say they're getting blocked or they're missing, I think Xander can. I really do think Xander can take him to the cards. And if it goes to the cards, I'm gonna put it out there, guys. I know when he fought Abbas Barrow, the fight ended in a majority decision, I believe it was, so people are saying like, oh, well, Xander isn't as much of a A-side as you guys think. I'm telling you guys right now, the guy's star power has shot up more than any fighter in boxing over the last year. If this fight is close, I think it's going to Xander. I really, really do. He's the younger, because boxing's a business, guys. You gotta remember, it's a business. He's 23 years old. There's more money to be made there with him. He's Puerto Rican. He's got the Puerto Rican fan base behind him. He's got Bad Bunny behind him. All that stuff. So my thing is, if you're Jaron Ennis, you gotta take these things into account, and you can't give him nothing. No free shots. Don't do this bullshit you do with Karen where you sit there. Don't do none of that stuff. Did I see Zayas clinching as much as he did versus Chino Perez? Yeah, he clinched a lot in that fight. I was just bringing that up. I was saying that one of the things that I think could get Xander in trouble is if he fades down the back half of this fight, and if he resorts to those clinching tactics, I think that could get him in trouble, because one thing Boots does does very, very well is he's able to get in that pocket. He's able to place to the body. He's able to shift the angle on you, and then boom, you get hit with another shot. So he's very creative in there. And so if you're Xander Zayas, conditioning wise, training wise, I think you have to go to another level of this fight. As does Boots, but you got to really iron out your conditioning for this fight. Bonjour says, any update on the Angelo fight? There's nothing to update you about. The fight's been announced. It'll be 31 days from today, May 9th, in Atlanta, Georgia. Angelo Leo, the best featherweight in the world, will be defending his IBF title for the second time against dangerous, respectable, credible, mandatory Rai Salim. So we're in camp right now. Today's our off day, and we're working very, very hard. And you guys are gonna see some shit come May 9th. Best believe it. And after that, God willing, everything goes according to plan. After that, expect us to start running down on all the other names of featherweight. Mother Prince says the size discrepancy at the face-off surprised me a bit. Xander is definitely the bigger guy. That's what I'm saying. And see, this is gonna be uncharted territory for Jaron Ennis. And so I don't look at it as a bad thing for Boots. I think this might actually make Boots have to really tighten up, like really start boxing behind the jab, like really start using the whole full skill set and not just go in a high guard and just let punches go like that. Like, no, I think because of Xander's blend of size, youth, boxing skills, IQ, it's going to force Jaron Ennis to finally have to use the whole toolbox. Because let's be real. If we could just be real about Boots, fighting these guys like Karen, fighting these guys like Stanionis, and it's no disrespect to these guys. These guys are good fighters, Roman Villa. These guys are good fighters, credible fighters, right? But these guys are not good enough to make Jaron Ennis have to use the full skill set. And I personally think that Jaron Ennis gets a little lazy in there. He gets very lazy in there because these guys don't pose no real threats. So I think in this fight, we're gonna see some things differently from Jaron Ennis, and I'm excited about that. Shout out to my man City by the Bay. He says Fury's fight going the distance, and they give it a super chat. I can't see Arslan Beck winning. I'll put it like this: if Tyson Fury can't beat Arslan Beck Makhmudov, he got to go pack it up. He's always talked about retiring. If he looks bad and doesn't pack up Arslan Beck Makhmudov, he's got to go because Makhmudov. And I hate to be the guy that judges people off their last fights because a loss isn't a death sentence, but he's just not he's not on that level. He's stiff. He's got no stamina. He's weak to the body. He's really not panned out in the pros the way a lot of people, even including myself, I thought he'd be a bit better than he's turned out to be. And so it could be a fight for redemption for Makhmudov if he can win. But nah, man, if you don't get this guy out of there, then I'm gonna have a lot to say about Tyson Fury. Does Leo hate doing interviews? I don't see him out there as much as others. Nah, it's actually the opposite. Angelo loves doing interviews. It's just that a lot of the boxing media they don't be calling. They don't call like that. So it is what it is. He's getting overlooked right now. He gets overlooked by a lot of people in the boxing media, but it's okay because when he starts drilling the Inoues and the Espinosas and the Bruce Carringtons and all these guys you guys think are special, then all of a sudden everyone's gonna want to do interviews. So I mean, look, he's very approachable. He's probably one of the most approachable, one of the nicest people you'll meet in boxing. To tell you the truth, if any of you guys come out to Atlanta, I'll put it to y'all like this: if any of y'all come out to Atlanta, and God willing, after the fight we win, and you see me, flag me down. Y'all can meet the champ if you want, and you'll see you'll see for yourself. Do I think Inoue's MSG debut will be with Bam? No. That makes zero sense. Bam is not from the East Coast. So I think if Inoue ever fights MSG, it's against Shushu Carrington. It's not against Bam. Bam would be a Vegas fight. What up, Chris? Good to see you, champ. Happy Easter. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Pico Lorenz says, blessing my brother Xander by decision. Okay. I see you, champ. I see you. Let me ask you guys. What do you guys think about that conference, that press conference? Ring Magazine podcast barely mentioned him. It's a shame. Well, it is what it is, man. Like, we'll get our due. So here we go. Boxing Nerd 101 says, BT, you contradicted yourself. You said a year ago Stanionis was a legacy fight, then said a year later Stanionis was a dumb, come forward brute. Well, for Bruce Ennis, it was a legacy fight because he hasn't fucking fought anybody. I mean, what do you want? They made it a legacy fight. They put the Ring Magazine belt on the line when it wasn't supposed to be on the line. You know, that was supposed to be on the line when he fought Brian Norman Jr., but we know how that went. He ran in 154. It was a good win. I gave him his due. I picked, just so you know, for anybody that likes Jaron Ennis, like boxing nerd, I picked Jaron Ennis, all right? I did not pick against him. I said he was going to go in there and he was going to have his way with Stanionis, and that's exactly what he did. So, yeah. It's a legacy fight for Boots because Boots hasn't fought anybody that great. I had to say it was a legacy fight. Now, I could have just said, if I wanted to be a hater, like you guys say I am, I could have just said that Amanda Stanionis is a nothing fight, and you're fighting a dude from Lithuania with no commercial value, who hasn't been active. I see weight drain excuses for Zayas coming up. Well, look, if he gets his ass kicked, I'm not saying nothing about weight. Listen, he wanted this fight. I've talked to the matchmakers at Top Rank myself, a couple of them, or one of them at least. I talked to one of the matchmakers at Top Rank, and he told me, "Look, I didn't want Xander to take this fight. I wanted to box Xander in Puerto Rico in front of 15,000 and keep the gravy train rolling, but they wanted this fight." And when I say they, I mean specifically Xander and his dad or his stepdad. They pushed for this fight. So that's why that's from the Top Rank side of things, from the Xander side of things. That's why this fight's happening. So if he has a hard time making weight, that's on him. You know, that's not Boots' fault, and there will be no excuses of that. It's one thing to be approachable, but he has to promote himself more. I agree with that. I 1,000% agree with that. Do you got any advice on how you could do that? Because if the boxing media is not hitting you up, and like all these guys that get pushed, like the shoes and guys like that, like what do you guys think you should do? Give me some ideas. I have some ideas that I've told him about already, which I hope he puts into place. But give me some ideas. And shout out to all 44 of you here. Make sure you smash that like button. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. My first live in like 10 days. The last time I was live was Fundura Thurman fight night after the fight. So it's been way too long. My apologies. I like coming live. I like being on these lives. But it's just been busy, man. We in camp right now. So make it do what it do. Yes, it was. You can fight for the Ring Magazine if one fights two or three. It shouldn't have been on. It shouldn't. Stanionis is not better than Brian Norman Jr. I don't care. I don't care about none of that. Stanionis versus Boots. It felt wrong. You can't sit there and tell me, like, you're not gonna sit there and tell me you really think that was the best two welterweights in the world at that time. And if you do, then I mean, I guess God bless you. I disagree. Have him either write an autobiography or you guys could do a documentary. Well, I have a camp vlog that I made already. I haven't posted it yet because I can't post it right now, but it'll post in like a couple weeks. I'm gonna drop like 2 or 3 vlogs for this fight. The first one will be at the end of this month. The second one will be probably the week of the fight, and then there'll be one after the fight. So there'll be 3 of them. So just stay tuned, man. Just stay tuned. Cause you said Mario Barrios is number 4. Barrios was always number 4. No matter who was champion, Barrios was always number 4. He was always number 4. Have you ever tried to get a press pass for Zuffa fight, or are you blacklisted? I've never tried to. I know people in the media who have. Zuffa boxing runs a very tight ship. With the media and things like that. I haven't really had any fights that I've wanted to cover for Zuffa. If I'm being honest, so I haven't even tried. But I got my Zuffa plugs if I want to cover some fights or get in there. What's the word, guys? What's the word? Talk to me. Put him to spar in the Vegas Strip like Jin did in the train station. We should do that. We might gotta do that. Do a day at camp on the Strip. That'd be funny. That'd be real funny. But what else? I mean, what else is going on in boxing. I pretty much said what I needed to say about Xander and Boots. I mean, it wasn't an incredibly long press conference. They had a very long stare down. Like Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas had a very long stare down, so you could tell both guys are very serious about this fight. Both guys are very serious about just the occasion. So that was cool. It was a press conference that I feel it exceeded expectations. It was a very good press conference. A lot of times fights between fighters that talk a lot disappoint, and then these guys don't really talk the most, and it was actually pretty good. So respect to them, and I would expect things to get even more intense as the fight gets closer and closer. So yeah, there's that. Now BT, they want to know from me who do I favor between Foster and Oshaki Foster or Raymond Ford? And first and foremost, let me give credit to both those guys for stepping up to the plate and making a really good fight happen for the super featherweight division. It's a true rivalry fight. Both these guys don't like each other. If you ask me who I favor, I'm favoring Oshaki Foster in the fight. I think Oshaki Foster is the better outside fighter. I think Oshaki Foster can control the pace better, and I think Oshaki Foster makes adjustments and thinks faster than Raymond Ford. Now, when it comes to Ford, what I'll say about Ford is I think for that fight, and I got a video coming out on this later on, so stay tuned for that. But just to kind of parrot some of the things I said in that video, I think Raymond Ford is going to have to summon some of the spirits from the Odebek Komatov fight. I think his advantage is in the pocket. I think Ford is the more explosive fighter. He's the more physically imposing fighter. So I think for him, he's gonna have to mix the ranges up and get in the pocket, kind of like he did against Komatov, but not quite the same. It's gonna be a bit different than that because Foster and Komatov are different fighters. Komatov's an Uzbek fighter. He fights out of the southpaw stance. Foster's an orthodox fighter. I think he does better. I think he's a better outside fighter than Odebek. Odebek's more of a mid-range guy. But nonetheless, I think I look at this fight as a 55-45 fight in favor of Oshaki Foster. And I think if Ford wants to win, he needs to be dialed in this fight, like really dialed in, because. And I think you could probably say this for both guys, but I say it more for Ford. Ford is a guy that fights up and down to the level of competition. So he hasn't looked the greatest. I mean, he's been winning, and he's been winning pretty easily against these guys like Thomas Matisse and Orlando Gonzalez and Abraham Nova, right? But he hasn't had anything, in my opinion, truly special since the night he beat Komatov. And I think this is the fight that will get him up to train and be at that level again. So I'm excited to seeing that. And once again, I'm picking the guy that he's going to be fighting. So we'll see how it goes. But I think coming press, they want to know which fights I'm going to be at. So I'm going to tell you guys the next 4 fights I'm going to be at. All right, the next 4 fights I'm going to be at. If any of you guys are in these areas, you can mark your calendars accordingly. And if you see me say what's up, I'll stop and talk to you guys. I love talking to the viewers of True School Sports. Now this one, the next fight I'll probably be at, it all depends on if PBC approves me or not. But I did apply for Dave Benavidez versus Zoto Ramirez. So if I get accepted, I will be there May 2nd. All right. After that, that'll be in Vegas. After that, in Atlanta, Georgia, May 9th, Angel, Leo, Rice, Aleem. Of course, that's what I'm here in camp for. That's why I look slimmer. That's why, the jaw is a bit more defined because we've been out here running and sparring and things like that. So May 9th, Leo versus Aleem. After that, May 30th, I will be in Houston for Oshaki Foster versus Raymond Ford. Me and Sean Tatel have already discussed, covering that fight together, and I've already told him I'm going to be there, so I'll be there for that. And then June 27th, Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis. That's a no-brainer. I got to be at that fight. That's like two fighters that I've covered a lot here on True School Sports. 2 fighters that I'm actually a big fan of and love watching fight. So I can't miss that. And it's in the East Coast. It's in New York City. All that stuff. Fixed Electronics says, I was at Raymond Ford's pro debut. He's getting into his grown man strength. Yeah, no, I definitely think so. I think I don't know, man. With Ford, he's a very well-rounded fighter. He can box. He can find the pocket. He's strong. But Foster's just so good on the outside, guys. He just does such a great job keeping these guys at bay on the outside. Ford is going to have to really battle for positioning in this fight with him, and then I think he asked. Also out of the southpaw stance, remain calm because he does get emotional sometimes, and get underneath, like really just get underneath the jab of Washaki Foster. And when you get in the pocket and you make a miss, make his ass pay. Make him feel every ounce of pain and anger that you feel, but channel it in a good way, a productive way. He will have to be on the back foot. Foster is big. Foster is a big fighter. He definitely is. Shout out to everybody here, by the way. There's 45 of you here. Make sure you smash the like button, run it up, subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you don't know about True School Sports, where the fuck you been at? I've been here for 11 years, giving you guys great video after great video after great video. Now we graduated. We're to the point where we're in training camps. We're in world title training camps. Film studying, just doing a little bit of sparring ourselves. Doing any and everything we can to help a great fighter, and I didn't say a good fighter, a great fighter, show the world that he is just that. So yeah. What are my thoughts on the Abdullah Mason Joe Cordina fight? I made a video about it this morning actually, but I haven't posted it yet. Just to kind of parrot what I said in that video a little bit as well. Really good fight. I like the fight. It's whenever a fighter wins their first world title, their first defense is always a very vulnerable position because you spend all this time as a kid trying to get to that moment of becoming a world champion. And then you become a world champion, and it's like, okay, now you're fighting at home. Now, people are asking for tickets. Now you're expected to win, and all these kind of things. And so you could have a emotional letdown, and you're fighting a guy who's no slouch. Joe Cordina can fight. He's a former two-time world champion at 130 pounds. Olympian, can box, can punch, can move, can do a lot of good things in there. And Mason isn't like the greatest defensively. He's still rounding out as a fighter, even though he's champion at 22 years old. So I like the fight. It's going to be on the 4th of July, which I think is pretty cool. I hope this could be a thing where Mason could fight on the 4th of July. Like I never understood why there's never been any American fighters, whether they be black fighters, or Mexican American fighters, or white fighters, or whatever. Just any. I never understood why there's never been a boxer in the history of our sport that's fought on the 4th of July consistently. So Mason's fighting on the 4th of July. They should just. I want to see this become a thing in boxing, right? But he should win. I think Mason should win. I think Cordina will have some success counterpunching him, but Mason's got about a 4 or 5 inch reach advantage. As long as he can take away the right hand, he'll be all right. When Fix Electronics asked how old is Joe Cordina? Joe Cordina is 34 years old. Manza Musa says the Leo fight in Japan made me a believer. Well, I appreciate that, man, because people use the fight in Japan to say that that's why he's not going to beat certain guys, and it's like, no, you don't understand how hard it is. Like, I want y'all to think about it, right? And it's with all due respect to Abdullah Mason, but I'm using Abdullah Mason as an example. Abdullah Mason is getting a world title defense, his first world title defense in his hometown against a former world champion. Angelo Leo had to go across the world and fight a former world champion in his hometown, and that's not always easy, right? That's difficult to do, and he went there and he did it. Espinosa didn't do that. Bruce Carrington didn't do that. Nick Ball didn't do that. Brandon Figueroa didn't do that. So, well, you know what? Brandon Figueroa kind of did do that. He did knock out Nick Ball in his hometown, so I won't say Figueroa, but the other guys didn't do that, TSM Hart said, and thank you for the super chat, TSM. He says, will Shakur fight Foster after Foster beats the shit out of Raymond Ford? Damn, you're not even giving Raymond Ford a chance. You say when he beats the shit out of Raymond Ford. Well, you know what? That depends, man. That's all on Shakur. We will see what Shakur does. Shakur Stevenson's kind of on his high horse right now because he's a what is he, a 4 division champion, right? He's a 4 division champion. He's number 3 pound for pound. Everyone's saying he's the best fighter in the world or on his way to being the best fighter in the world. So it really all depends. I think if what we need to do as boxing fans, and I'm gonna hold all the viewers of this live accountable. So if you're on this live, I'm gonna remember your name. If Foster does beat Raymond Ford, the boxing world as a whole needs to start shaming Shakur Stevenson for not fighting Oshaki Foster because it's ridiculous. Honestly, it really is ridiculous, and he's openly, outright, just pretty much avoided the guy. I understand there's bigger fights out there for him. Foster's not as big of a name or as big of a payday as other guys, but Oshaki Foster is a legitimate world champion. He outboxed the living shit out of a guy who was a legitimate French pound for pound guy, Stephen Fulton. Albeit, yes, Fulton was, fat and unmotivated and all those kind of things, but still, to do that was impressive. And I think we need to see Shakur Stevenson in there with another guy who's rangy, who can box from the outside. And let's see if Shakur Stevenson really is one of those top technical fighters that he says he is, right? Because if he is, then he should be able to beat a guy with a similar style to him. How about that? No, man. When Angelo dribbled Lopez off the canvas, I started to believe and pay attention. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. I'm trying to tell you guys, man. Like I've been around a lot of fighters in my lifetime, a lot, a lot, and God has blessed me immensely to have a front row seat for the last 5 years of my life. Going to Vegas, back and forth, spending extended periods of time there with Angelo. I remember seeing Angelo spar Hector Garcia 5 years ago when he didn't really have that great of a jab. And I've seen the development. I've seen the evolution. That's why I talk so highly because I know what he gave. I know what he's given to the sport, and I've seen how he's evolved, and I know the caliber of fighter he is. And as crazy as it sounds, and I'm not saying this to talk trash or like hype him up. I'm being dead ass serious because I was there in camp. He didn't even use 70. He didn't even use 80% of what he game planned for with Bernardo Lopez because he didn't have to. Straight up, that's the God's honest truth. He only used about 75 to 70 that night, and it was enough, and it produced what you guys saw. So I can't wait till the names that you guys want to see him fight get in the ring with him. Ray and Kerr are still mates, both trained at Houston, so I'd imagine he'll be there. Shock will also likely call him out if victorious. Oh, for sure, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be an amazing atmosphere. I haven't gone to Houston in 5 years. The last time I went to Houston, coincidentally, the last time I went to Houston was the first Angelo Leo fight I ever went to in person. Yeah, Angelo fought Aaron Alameda on the undercard of Jamal Charlo versus who the hell did he fight? Who did Charlo fight back then? I can't even remember who he fought. He fought a Mexican guy whose name has escaped me right now. Hold on, guys. I gotta iron this out. Charlo fought a Mexican guy in 2021. Um, who was it? Juan Montiel was on the card of Charlo Montiel at the Toyota Center. Angelo was the opener on Showtime. He fought Aaron Alameda. That was a tough fight. You know what? Hold on, guys. Do me two things, guys. I'm gonna ask y'all two questions, right? And y'all can respond how you want to respond. So, in the chat, let me know where you're watching from, what city, what state, what continent you're watching from. I want to see how international we are on the broadcast. And number two, right now we're in the camp house for the Angel Leo Rice Elite camp. Do you guys want a tour? Would you guys like a tour of the camp house? Yes or no? Let me know in the chat. I'll give you a tour. Do I think Albright and Davis will be a competitive fight, the rematch? Yes, I do. I hear Albright is one of the most crafty fighters in boxing. I think he's an underrated puncher. You saw in the back half of the Frank Martin fight who the bigger puncher was. He's already hurt Keyshawn Davis before. I think he could do it again. I think it's a really good fight. I mean, people that don't really know now here Albright that are casual boxing fans are going to say that Keyshawn called out Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia and all these guys to fight this guy that nobody's heard of. But real boxing fans know now here Albright is legitimately like a really good fighter. And he really beat Frank Martin. We got Kentucky in the building. Owensboro, Kentucky. We got New York City. We got San Antonio, Texas. We got South Carolina. All right, guys, look. I'm gonna get up. Let me give you the grand tour. We're gonna do MTV Cribs. In fact, we'll do True School Cribs. So look, so right now, look, all right, True School Cribs. So right now, I'll show you guys the first room. So right now, this is the room. So right here, my computer, the computer's right here. I'm sitting right there, right? I got the computer mounted onto the hot tub. That's the champ's gym bag, and you know, you see the wraps. You know, these are wraps right here, right? So let me give you all let me give you all the tour, right? True School Cribs. We're gonna do True School Cribs. I'm gonna show you guys, okay? So then you come here, right? So you got this room right here. This is like a little book room, right? Got a little book room. They got like a record player. So if we had some records, like if we had some Motown or whatever it is, we could really get on our Joe Louis vibes and listen to some Motown while we're in camp, right? Or you got a painting right there, got a little painting right there, right? So then you come down this hall, right? Come down this hall. See, True School Cribs. Hold on. Let me see who's around right now. As I give you all the grand tour and get your questions in, man. Get your questions in. All right. So he's asleep. So you got one of the smart partners over there, Fernando. He's dead asleep. This the little book room, right? Little book room. Everybody here kind of just chills out. The baby, the Angelo's son, comes in here and plays the board games and stuff. You know. You go over here. You gotta hold on. We need some lighting in here. What's lighting at? Hold on. So it's like okay. All right. So look, you got a piano right there, right? Look. So look at this. See that? Got a little piano. Kitchen over there, right? My kitchen there. And then you got the main room. You got the main room in there. Angelo's in there. I don't know. I don't know if I want to bother him right now. But he says, "Tell Leo it's time to get out of his shell. Hell, even if we can get on camera more. What do you guys think? Should I make him get on camera? Cause he just chilling. What you guys think? If Inoue were to move up and there's still 4 chances for the weight, who do you think Inoue would choose? He's definitely gonna choose. I think he's definitely gonna choose Bruce 1000%. It's not even a hesitation in my mind. What champion would he see as the weakest, even if they aren't? Bruce. I think it's gonna be Bruce. I know for a fact, like if you're asking me if it's gonna be Angelo, I don't think he would see Angelo like that because I know that the people that run his career, they didn't really like have interest in matching him up with Venado Lopez, and you've seen what Angelo did to Venado Lopez. So, and plus too, like I'm not delusional. I think Angelo is a great fighter, but he's not the biggest name yet. But he's getting there. Fight by fight, we're gonna get there. Hold on, let me ask him real quick, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me ask him real quickly. Yo, Angelo, are you busy? Are you busy? Want to come live with me? I'm live right now. All right. I'll just be right here. So whenever you want, I'll just be right here. Cause they're like, tell Angelo to get out of his shell. We want to see the champ more. Yeah. I'll be right here though. All right. So he said he'll come on at some point. So I don't know when that'll be, but I'll rock with you guys. I'm gonna rock with you guys. You know, I ain't been live in a while, so I'll make this a 2-hour live. Hold on. As per usual, hold on. Cause now I moved and now the lighting is not what it needs to be. Hold on. Hold on. Chip. What are lights here? Lights. What lights in this bitch? What up, Fern? I'm just live right now. I'm talking to the people. Hold on. Bro, where's the light here? That's right here. It's right here. I don't know why it won't turn on. Well, F it. F it. I'm just gonna be up here right here. Huh? Oh, the light? The light? Yeah. I'm trying to find the light for this right here. It won't turn on. Which champ at 126 do you want to fight each other if you were the one making the fights? Oh my god. See now, guys, if I was the commissioner of boxing and I could just control everything, you guys would be in for a treat because we'd have Angelo Leo versus Rafael Espinoza. That would be number one for sure. And then we'd have Bruce Carrington versus Brandon Figueroa. Right? And then what was it at?
Right in the bottom.
The bottom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's what we would do. Boxing is alive and well, and watch ESPN come crawling back. I would love that. I think boxing needs ESPN. I think boxing's always in a healthier place when the worldwide leader in sports is involved. It's always great to have that platform and have that for the fighters to grow their names. That's how Xander Zayas got, as big as he is now, and a lot of guys in boxing have benefited from the ESPN platform. Tyson Fury, he benefited greatly from fighting on the ESPN platform. So I'm with you, champ. DT, which fight do you feel is most likely next? Rafael Espinoza versus Navarrete or Rafael Espinoza versus Brandon Figueroa? Oh my God, definitely Rafael Espinoza versus Figueroa. I've been told by some pretty influential people in the fight game that Rafael Espinoza versus Brandon Figueroa might be on that Canelo Alvarez versus Christian and Billy undercard. So I would say that one. I think if Rafa wins that fight, I don't think Rafa has I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't really think these guys. I don't think Rafa and Bruce Carrington have as long at featherweight as a lot of you guys think. I really do think that it's going to be both those guys are going to move out of the weight class sooner than you think because they're going to have a hard time making the weight. Just a hunch, just something I might know. But yeah, it's a nice little spot we got here. It's a nice little spot we got here in a undisclosed location. Yeah, but most of the time I spend most of my time right here in this room. This room right here, where all the books are at. Where all the books and there you go, all that stuff. Let me see. Let me lay down. Let me lay down and chill. Chill with True School. It's good to be live again. Okay. Do I think that Top Rank blocked Shock Foster versus Vaquero? Not Top Rank. I think Zanford Promotions. They're the ones that would ultimately do the blocking in that fight. I think Zanford. Because you know what I heard. I'm gonna tell you guys something I heard, and I believe it to be true because it makes sense, and you guys can take this and do with it with as you please. But I've heard that a lot of the Zanford Promotions fighters, they wind up Zanford takes a lot of money from the they take very big percentages from the fighters' purses, so that's why a lot of their fighters are in these fights and milking these title defenses so that everybody's getting their cut, And then mind you, if Zanford's taking a high percentage, Top Rank gets their cut from the fighter as well. Plus, the fighter got to pay his team, so that's probably what it is too. That's probably why these guys like Munguia and Espinoza and Williams and Peta are fighting all these cans so they can stack their money up. Bruce is a short dude. Him moving up fighting dudes with a longer reach might cause issues. I agree with that. I think even now, I think even now, like at featherweight, there's certain guys at featherweight that I think are just terrible matchups for him. Because I mean, I don't want to give the whole blueprint away because we're gonna have to fight him one day, but he's got some things I don't even want to say that he needs to clean up because I'm not even sure he can clean them up. He has certain things that he just does on a subconscious level that I don't think he's gonna fix. And the thing is, the Top Rank hasn't really put anybody in front of him to make him fix the things he needs to fix if he's gonna fight guys like Espinoza and Leo and them kind of guys. BT, could you see Canelo stopping Christian and Billy? I mean, if like the 2021 Canelo shows up in this fight, sure. But I mean, it just really depends if is Canelo Alvarez gonna fight. Um, is he gonna fight? Is he not gonna fight in spurts? Because if you fight in spurts against Christian and Billy, I just think he's probably gonna get outworked. Unless of course he can counterpunch him and hurt him. That's probably the other thing. Now, if he can counterpunch him and hurt Christian and Billy, then that obviously changes the complexion of the fight. But nah, I don't see him. I don't see him stopping him. But I don't rule it out. You know, when a guy throws that many punches and you can counterpunch like Canelo, you got a chance. But I would say no. What do you mean? He's got a pretty long reach for 126 or 135. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't know who's watching me, and I don't want to give out no game to go help Shushu out. It's just he's got some things he needs to clean up badly. You know, I like him too. I like him too, but this is a war. You know, we the game is to be sold and not told. So y'all say he's special and this, that, and the third. Well, we shall see. I'm talking about size, not skills. Oh, his size? Oh, I'm not talking about his size. I'm talking about his skills. I'm talking about like things he does in the ring. Because his size isn't gonna save him from certain guys in 126. But yeah, he's huge though. I mean, Bruce Carrington's pretty big. I just seen him. I just seen him at the Thurman Fedora fight. He is pretty big. I will say that. But yeah, there's a whole lot of boxing on this weekend. You got Tension versus Guile this weekend. You got Tomoyo Subai fighting. Fighting low level guys is okay sometimes. No one wants a hard day at the office every day. No one does. And you know what? Like people say, like, oh well, we want to see the best fight the best all the time. No, you don't, because sometimes the guys that you don't think much of actually wind up causing upsets. Imagine how many upsets we would that would not happen in boxing if it was just always the big names versus the big names. You know what I mean? And then how many times do you watch the big names versus the big names and it's not even a great fight? You know, so I agree. You know, there's a reason why we have things like mandatories and voluntaries. Like all these things have origins. If you trace back the origins of why we have a mandatory, why we have voluntaries and things like this, it's because so fighters don't get burnt out. It's a hard game. But what's on your mind, guys? Talk to me. Talk to me, man. I'm here for like another hour or so. Here, just enjoying my nice day off in camp. How do you rate Mosley Tama? Do you think Anderson or Torres have a shot against him? I rate Mosley Tama very highly. I'm all in on Mosley Tama. I think he's the most special fighter in boxing under 23, 23 and under. Um, he's the truth. Like you stop Jermaine Franklin like that, you know he's never been stopped, and you get him out of there in 6 rounds. That's a statement to me. And as far as Jared Anderson or Torres, I would give Torres a shot just because of the work rate, and I think he's durable, and I think he's tough, and I think he's gonna get better training with Bomac and them. But Jared Anderson, no chance in hell, not a snowball's chance in hell. You know, not a snowball's chance in hell against Moses. Zoo versus Spence is a good fight. I like the fight. Just for what it is. You know, it's not a fight that really proves anything. Like Tim Zoo, isn't going to become champion beating Earl Spence, and Earl Spence is going to become champion beating Tim Zoo. But you have Zoo who's taken some losses, right? And you have Spence who we haven't seen in 3 years, and these guys have something bigger to fight for: respect, the respect and relevancy, right? My thing is this, right? So let's just say they fight, because I was thinking this to myself: if Earl Spence beats Tim Zoo, what the hell comes next? Like, what is Earl Spence gonna do if he beats Tim Zoo? Like, does that just mean his boxing career continues? Like, he's had the body language for a while of a guy who does not want to fight at all. So my thing is, if he is to be victorious against Tim Zoo, is he gonna ask for a Terrence Crawford rematch? Is he gonna fight Charlo? Is he gonna go ahead and do the grudge match with Thurman? Like, I'm kind of intrigued to see what will happen if Spence wins. Spence to me in that fight is the more intriguing storyline. But It's just it's two guys who are not really threatening anybody on the championship level fighting each other. Osalis Iglesias is fighting tomorrow for the vacant IBF title. Do you think he's a dark horse of the division? Yeah, for sure. And I've always talked good about Osalis Iglesias. I've always said that like he's kind of like the new Dan Morrell. I think he's actually more devastating than Dan Morrell. Dan Morrell I think had more hand speed, but he has more power. He's just laying these guys out flat. So I think yeah, I like that fight a lot. I'm gonna check him out tomorrow. Um, Also, there's a good card on Pro Box this weekend. I know Vito Moneki's the main event, but the fight on the undercard of the Vito Moneki, the fight on the undercard of the Vito Moneki Pro Box card, there's a fight between Dwight Flemings Jr. and Jan Marcos. That's the underrated sleeper fight of the week. If you're looking for a good fight this weekend between fighters you probably never heard of, Dwight Flemings Jr. versus Jan Marcos on the undercard of on the Vito Moneki card on Pro Box on Friday. Check that one out. Did you see Samson recently say they want Thunder versus Kelly? Could Kelly do well with his running tactics? No. If Keith Thurman couldn't do it, Kelly ain't gonna do it. I'll tell you, and I know Keith Thurman was old and inactive and out of the ring and those kind of things, but nah, man, I don't see it. I don't foresee it, but I don't see it going well for Kelly in there. It seems like you're the only one talking about the Inoue versus Junto fight. Well, I mean that's to be expected. A lot of the American media doesn't really know shit about Japanese boxing. Um, the Inoue Nakatani fight, like I'm excited for it because it's a mega event, but it's lost some luster because of the Sebastian Hernandez Reyes fight. Like we all saw Sebastian Hernandez Reyes put these bricks all over Junto Nakatani, and you know, that's why it's lost some luster. That's why sometimes when the iron is hot and people think it's 50-50 or 55-45, you gotta strike out the iron's hot. It was in my opinion, it was always a retarded idea to take these two guys to Saudi Arabia, a place they never fought, against two tough, hungry, determined Mexican fighters. It was just never a smart idea at all. And look, it's gonna do well at the Tokyo Dome. I'm sure they're gonna be happy that with the sales and all these kind of things. But like, it just I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as it did before. My man Chris says, "I'm telling you that Junto Nakatani will win." Well, hey, I'm glad there's people out there that think that. I don't think that. I didn't think that before the Sebastian Hernandez Reyes fight. I damn sure don't think it now. Turkey is a shitty promoter and matchmaker overseer of things. He should just put the money and move out of the way. I mean that's what I've been trying to tell you guys for like since the beginning. That Turkey is the ruination of boxing, and yeah, like all he needed to do was just get some good boxing people in place. Check your ego out the door, and then check your ego out the door, and then give the fans the fight they want to see. But no, he got to rule with an iron fist. He got to control the whole sport of boxing. So I mean, it is what it is. Mexican grit, low center of gravity. Yep, Sebastian Hernandez Reyes had those things in spades. That's why I think he's a tough fight for anybody in the division. He punches very, very well to the body. He moves his head out the center line well enough. That's really like in a way. Now in a way is doing all this talking about I want to stay at 122 pounds for an extra fight, and I'm just like, bro, okay. So you don't want to fight nobody at featherweight. You want to drag your feet and you want to take your sweet time coming to featherweight. Okay, cool. If you fight and you beat Jose Nakatani and you want to stay for an additional fight, then I want to see you run it with Sebastian Hernandez Reyes. How about that? Why don't you fight the guy that gave that put a beat down on Junto Nakatani? And who would know about Sebastian Hernandez Reyes better than Inoue himself? Because Inoue, really and truthfully, Inoue, He's been in camp with him. He sparred him before. Like he knows what the deal is. So why not? Hold on, guys. I gotta get something to drink. I'm over here talking and talking and talking, and I'm getting like thirsty. But keep the comments coming, guys. Don't get quiet on me. Don't get quiet on me. Don't. You got any questions about Boots Zayas? Let that come in. You got anything you want to say about the May 9th fight with Angelo and Aleem? I'm always down to talk about that. If you got anything about this weekend's fights, go ahead and talk about that. You want to talk some Inoue, we can go ahead and talk about that. There's plenty to talk about. Anything. You guys know I'm here to talk about that boxing. Shout out to my guy TSM for the $5 super chat. He says Inoue feels disrespected that people think Nakatani beats him. I don't really feel like people feel that way anymore, though. I think people felt that way before the Sebastian Hernandez-Reyes fight. I feel like people now are like, okay, it's a good fight. It's at the Tokyo Dome. Yeah, we're going to get excited about it, but it doesn't have that same feeling. But I did see him say that. Hold on. Yeah, let me get situated here, guys, because I'm over here moving. Because Angelo's in the other room over there. I asked him if he wanted to come on, and he said that he might come on. So we'll see. We'll see. No pressure here. We're just chilling on a day off. Hold on. Let me plot my ass right here. Okay. Talk to the people. Okay. So my man here says, when is the Leo fight? May 9th. May 9th, Atlanta, Georgia. Rai Salim. And it'll be on the zone. For those of you who can't make it to Atlanta, it'll be on the zone to watch for your viewing pleasure. So after you watch Fabio Wally and Daniel Dubois shoot it out in the UK, tune in to watch the best featherweight in the world. I need to find the stream, but I remember Zattel saying Bam Rodriguez could beat a prime Rigondeaux. What do you think? I disagree. A prime Rigondeaux? Like the one that fought Donaire? It really all depends. It depends on if he could take away the left hand and angle off on him, possibly. But I mean, I don't know. Bam never fought no one on that level to me. Xander Zayas versus Boots brings me memories of Mosley versus Vernon Forrest. That's interesting. Who do you think is Mosley? Who do you think is Vernon Forrest? Who's a better boxer, Haney or Zayas, in your opinion? You could compare when Devin was 23, if need be, given to when Devin is. Oh, you're saying I could compare them both at 23? I don't know. Like, I'm the wrong guy to ask that question because I'm just not the biggest Devin Haney guy. To me, it's kind of the same. I mean, Devin was undisputed. To be fair to Devin was undisputed at 23, right? He was undisputed at 23. Xander isn't. So I mean, based on that, you gotta be fair and give it to Devin. Who would I favor in Chop Gonzalez versus Jan Santana? Oh my God, that's a good fight. Are they fighting? Is that an actual matchup? If they fought, fuck, that's a hard fight because Jan Santana, he's really good on the outside. Chop, he's getting better every fight. I'll go Chop on like a points decision. He says, man, Boots is about to step on Zayas. We'll see, man. I think obviously Jaron Ennis is very explosive. He's very creative. He's one of the most dynamic fighters in boxing. I can't take that from him. But I don't want to say I don't think he's gonna step on him. I think maybe I think for me, if Boots beats Xander, it'll be like a late round stoppage, something like that, like a 9 or 10 round stoppage. Maybe he gets in the pocket and maybe he trains that body down and breaks him down. But it's a great fight. I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy to just I'm happy. I wish that fight was like I wish that fight was a couple weeks away instead of 2 months away. But that's how you know it's a great fight when they're doing the promotion for the fight 2 weeks, so 2 weeks, 2 months in advance. You know, we're gonna have 2 months to dissect film from these guys and these kind of things. So yeah. My main man, Joel, what's good, champ? I know it's been a long time no see. I ain't really been doing the live because I've been here in camp. I don't know if you noticed, champ. I don't know if you noticed. You see the jawline is more defined. The muscles is more defined. We've been doing our thing. We've been sparring. We've been running. We've been doing our thing. So yeah, good to see you, champ. He says, "Are you going to New York for that fight?" Yes, I will. 1,000. I will. I'll be in New York City for Xander Zayas versus Boots. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Barring any, God willing, knock on wood, any tragic family events or anything like that, like beyond my control, I will be in New York City for that fight. Benavidez Zordo, Leo Alim, Foster versus Ford, Zayas versus Ennis. Those are the next 4 fights I'm going to. Who would I favor at 122, 126, Prime Loma or Inoue? It's a good question. It's a very good question. I'm gonna go with Inoue. I'll go with Inoue. Loma has the skills for sure. He definitely has the footwork. I don't know if he has the volume or the size to deal with to have, because I feel like if Inoue loses when Inoue loses a fight, it's gonna be to a fighter who has a certain blend of skill, pressure, and volume. Zayas doesn't know what he's in for. I mean, neither one of them knows what they're in for. That's why they got to fight. You and Leo should have went to the Inoue and Junto fight. We can't. He has a fight the next week after. We're not worried about Inoue and Junto. May 9th, he's fighting. Inoue and Junto fight May 2nd. Yeah, and Leo and Alim fight May 9th. So, I mean, if they wasn't so close, yeah, I'd love to go to Japan. I'd be in Japan. I'm the number one guy for Japanese boxing in America, but we have our own business to handle on May 9th, and y'all gonna see. And then after that, there will be no mandatory obligation. So for the next 9 months, I'm gonna be running down on some guys. Y'all don't get it. Boots is really a problem. I've seen him many times in Philly. I've seen him in Philly too. I mean, listen, all that sparring, what they do in the sparring, what they do in the gym talk, that's cool and all. They don't pay you for that, and that don't go on your box rec. All that matters is June 27th. And all I'll say is this: I think Boots does have the ability to. I think, objectively speaking, because I do like Xander a lot, but objectively speaking, I think Boots can stop Xander in the later rounds. I don't think Jaron Ennis will stop him like in the first 6 rounds. Like all these guys talking about, oh, Boots gonna stop Xander in the first 6 rounds. That's not happening. I'll tell you that right now. That's not happening. But round 8, round 9, round 10, I can see it. I can see it. But you know what else I could see? I can see Jaron Ennis firing like a dumbass and just loading up on everything and getting outpointed. I can see that too. I can see either Boots by stoppage late or Xander on points. Those to me, those are the 2 most likely outcomes of the fight. Because if you go back and you watch, and we brought it up earlier, talking about Jorge Sebastian Perez, Xander was kind of conning his way through the last part of that fight, tying up a lot. He was gassed out. So if those problems rear their ugly head in this fight, I think that's you can't do that against Jaron Ennis. Boots doesn't know what he's in for. 2, Zayas could win by UD, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not. Listen, man. The reason why this fight's so big is not just because of Jaron Ennis. All right, it's because they're both really good fighters. It's a true legacy-defining fight. It's not one of those fights that I gotta sit there and be polite about, like with Stanion. Like this is an actual legacy-defining fight. BT, who do you favor in the rumored Ryan versus Tio fight? Ryan Garcia. And do you really think they're gonna fight? Because I think Teofimo Lopez is gonna go to Zuffa Boxing. Because Richardson Hitchens and Edgar Berlanga, they get signed to Zuffa Boxing today, and they're both represented by Keith Conley, right? And Keith Conley's just funneling all his guys to Zuffa. Conor Ben's a Keith Conley fighter. He's at Zuffa. Berlanga, Zuffa. Hitchens, Zuffa. So I would fully anticipate next Teofimo Lopez, Zuffa. You know. Boots sees slick fighters. Okay, then we will see. Come June 27th, we will see. You know, I'm looking forward to the fight, and I'm looking forward to being there, and I'm looking forward to just being part of it all. You know, if Boots beats the hype job, what does that do for his career? Who's the hype job? I don't think there's any hype job in this fight. I think people may say that I hate on Boots and whatever. Listen, in this fight, guys, there's no hype jobs. Jaron Ennis is not a hype job. Xander Zayas is not a hype job. These are two excellent fighters. You know, Jaron Ennis, former unified 147-pound champion, very dynamic, skillful fighter. You know, coming to you guys live and direct from Philly, and then Xander Zayas. You know, Xander Zayas. Guys, you know how hard it is to win a world title at 23. He won 2 world titles at 23. Come on, man. Like you guys know how hard this sport is. Gotta give them some. You gotta give these guys their just due. Like we gotta stop doing this in boxing when two top fighters fight each other. Let's just appreciate the moment we're in. Like I'm always coming on this YouTube channel, and I'm always complaining about things that I want to see happen in boxing. But I feel like when things that I want to see happen in boxing actually happen, I don't like, and not just me, but boxing fans in general. We don't actually just be happy. Just be happy, man. DAZN forced it. They needed a network deal. Listen, it wasn't just all. I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is not. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. It's not just because of DAZN and they forced it. They didn't force anything. Xander Zayas and his stepdad have been going crazy on the top-ranked matchmakers behind the scenes and telling them and saying, "Look, we don't want to fight these guys you want us to fight because the top-ranked matchmakers are split. Just so you guys know, the top-ranked matchmakers are 1,000% divided on this fight. One of them is for this fight and wants to fight. The other one just wants to box Xander in Puerto Rico and just keep milking the gravy train, right? But Xander said, no, I can't. I want to be great. I want to see how good I really am. And mind you, Xander has all the politics of boxing on his side. He's a young Puerto Rican fighter. He's got the Bad Bunny and all that stuff with him. There's a lot of economic value potential that Xander Zayas has. And he's using his privilege as a young A-side guy to go get the Jaron Ennis fight. How could you guys fix your lips and disrespect a guy like that? You know? So yeah, no, I'm excited for this fight, and I'm glad that I finally get to see Jaron Ennis on the big stage because that's where he belongs to be. I don't want to see Jaron Ennis fighting Karen. Who the fuck? Like, respect to Karen. Karen's a good fighter. He's a solid contender. But let's be real. Let's just be honest, guys. And it's not disrespect. It's just talking real. Who the fuck wanted to see Ennis fight Karen 2 times? None of us did, right? So let's appreciate that now he's finally on the big stage. I'm using this moment to appreciate. I'm being happy about everything. BT, do you think Elijah Pierce or Nick Ball can recover from those stoppages? It's gonna be tough. I mean, Pierce got drilled. I mean, Elijah got absolutely drilled by Para. And Ball, Ball was the most protected guy in the featherweight division by far. Like, they wasn't trying to have him fight no one, you know. So it's gonna be a hard road back because the guys at featherweight are really, really good. Why are they sacrificing Xander? I don't think it's a sacrifice. There's no like. So okay, so what if he wins? Now what? Everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, why this? Well, what if he wins? Then what? He's megastar. You see, all these great fighters, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, De La Hoya, Floyd, Pacquiao, all these fighters that we revere years later, decades later, the reason that we admire them is because at some point in their career, they had a fight that enough of the masses thought that they couldn't win, and they showed you guys they proved the world wrong. So my thing is like, come on, like, what if he wins? You guys act like Jaron Ennis is like Floyd Mayweather, like he's this close a perfect fighter. He's not. He's not on that level. He's very good. I'm not gonna say he's not one of the top guys out there. He is, but he got a whole lot of flaws he better fix for this fight. I'll tell you that right now. As does Xander, and that's why it's a great fight. I see the fight for what it is. It's a fight between two guys that do certain things very, very well, but have some glaring vulnerabilities. You know, there's no in this fight to me. There's no Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao caliber fighter in this fight. That's how I see it. There's neither one of those guys are on that level as of yet to me. So my thing is, it's a good fight. Did Oscar sacrifice Canelo when he fought Floyd? No, he didn't. This is a win-win for. That's what I'm saying. If Xander loses, no one's gonna blame Xander for losing because a lot of people already look at Jaron Ennis as the best in the 154-pound division, and a lot of people already look at Jaron Ennis as the heir apparent to the pound number one throne, right? So there's no shame in that if he does lose. Now, don't let him win. Oh man, y'all don't want that to happen. Don't let the young Puerto Rican from South Florida win. Don't do that. Because now if he does that, now you're talking about a megastar. You're gonna have a legit megastar on your hands if he beats Jaron Ennis. Because this fight's gonna do numbers. Although you're a Hornets fan, did you cheer for Bam Adebayo when he got 83? I was happy for him. You know, he plays for the Heat, so like, you know, it was cool that he made a lot of my friends in South Florida happy, and I mean, I like seeing history, so yeah, it was cool. You know, but I mean, I didn't really have no crazy reaction to it one way or the other. I was just like, damn, he scored 83 points. That's pretty cool. that was my reaction. People don't realize there's more pressure on Boots than that's what I'm saying. There really is. Like, there really, really is. Because, see, if Xander loses this fight, he's still 23. No one's going to fault him for it. He can come back. He can say he fought the best in the division. He can say he was unified champion at 23. He's already accomplished, right? And he can still come back and accomplish more. He took the risk, right? Now, Boots, he loses this fight. He's 28 years old. You know, he's a polarizing guy in the boxing world. You know, he did turn down the Virgil Ortiz fight in late 2024, so we'll see how it goes. What's my prediction? I don't have one yet. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna give it some time to flesh out. You know, at first, when the fight first got announced, I was favoring Boots. Today at the press conference, you know, I saw some things that made me kind of rethink what I was saying about Boots. So to be honest, I don't really have one yet. I don't really have a prediction. I'm just taking it in right now. He says, "Stop acting like you don't know that Boots is gonna hurt that kid." I don't. Maybe I would feel more confident about that if Jaron Ennis tightened his fucking defense up. That's a problem. Like his defense is insanely leaky. You know, I'm being honest. I hate when you guys see nothing pisses me off more than when you guys get on here and you tell me to be honest. I'm always honest. You guys just don't like it when I'm honest, and you're like, oh, because you guys want me to say what you want to hear. I'm not here to say what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what I think. And if you want to listen and you get something from it, cool. If you enjoy it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. There's plenty of other channels. I always tell you guys what I think. I'm telling you guys that Jaron Ennis, but I told the whole world that Jaron Ennis needs to tighten his fucking defense up, and he needs to. I mean, I made a whole video about both guys and their flaws, and the only the video about Boots, about what I was saying about what Boots does wrong, that was the one where everybody got all pissy about it. He's never been dropped, cut, or even had a bump on his face. So how is his defense bad? Because Karen Chuka-John is lighting him up with 3-4 punches at a time. That's why. He's never bled in the ring. Okay, I mean, that's a scar tissue thing. Some guys have thick scar tissue, some guys don't. But his defense is leaky. And at this higher level, all I'm saying is against a guy who moves guy who's bigger than him. Because look at if you go look today at that press conference, Boots didn't look as big as he normally does. You're only talking about Karen via what? Well, the reason I talk about Karen is because Karen is the only guy that Boots really fought that really moves. All these other guys that he fights, and I'll say it again if you didn't hear what I said in my other videos. These guys come forward. These guys bring the fight right to Boots, and they don't really have the IQ at that level. Villa was touching Boots up. Villa ain't the sharpest puncher. Yeah, I mean, look, Boots is gonna get hit because Boots wants to get knockouts. He calls himself Mr. Catch a Body for a reason, you know. Even Thomas, and there's Hyro. Shout out to Hyro. Even Thomas Lome landed a clean shots on him. Thomas Lome landed like one clean shot on him and then got knocked the fuck out. Let's calm down on Thomas Lome. You're taking it too far now. I'm not a hater. That's taking it too far. I went to that fight. You know? I'm just saying, man. Y'all, I don't think you guys are really watching. Like you guys are not really watching Xander like that. And I think you guys aren't being honest about Jaron Ennis' flaws. Like I'm not saying he's an awesome fighter. I like Jaron Ennis. Like I really do like Jaron Ennis, but you gotta be honest about guys' flaws. Every fighter has them, you know. And the scenario I can see that gets Boots in trouble this fight is that he thinks he's gonna walk through Xander. He hits Xander with big shots, tries to walk him down. It doesn't work like he thought it would, and then he starts loading up on everything, and the fight goes to the cards, and he loses on points. I could see that scenario playing itself out. So my thing is, in this fight with Boots, with Xander, I want to see Boots load up on his shots a lot less. I want to see him put water in the basement and really touch that body. I want to see the complete skill set because that is going to be what it will require. Well, if you don't believe me, wait till June 27th and you shall see. Boots got a chin though, and Xander is not punching like that. His power is kind of mid at 154. Well, I won't dispute that. I don't think I've never once said that Xander is a world class puncher at 154 pounds. But a lot of times, when you're not a big puncher, when you don't have a lot of, explosive power like that at that world-class level, you can make up for it with how you place your shots. And one thing Xander is elite at, if I could say Xander Zayas was a 10 at anything in the boxing ring, it's how he places his shots and his punch selection. He's got a great punch selection, and he places his shots from the head and body very well. So he can systematically wear you down and outpoint you. He's accurate, What good is it being this big-time puncher if you're not accurate? I'd rather a guy have mid punching power but be elite in the accuracy department than be elite in the punching power department but be, mid in the accuracy department. So, it's food for thought. Do you think Boots and his team would be receptive to answering questions from you? These fighters get kind of sensitive. I mean, I've interviewed Bozy before. I did have a chance to interview Boots one time when I went down there to Philly one time in 2022. I mean, listen. I'll ask the questions if they want to answer them. Cool. If not, it is what it is. Who cares? I mean, if they don't want to answer them, I'm not. It's no sweat off my back. There's plenty of fighters in the world. If Zayas wins, he would as not. If Zayas wins as not a finished product, and he would become the most famous, loved athlete from Puerto Rico, they would receive him at the airport like they did with Tito BT. I think so. I think it's one of them fights. Like when they first signed Xander Zayas as the youngest fighter in the history of Top Rank Boxing, and coincidentally enough, I actually interviewed Xander Zayas like 3 or 4 days after he signed that contract because he was at an amateur tournament that I was at. And I interviewed him for like 3 or 4 minutes. And so ever since that day, then that was all the way back in, we're talking like 2018, 2019. Ever since that day, they've been talking about basically, will this be the guy to fill Miguel Cotto's shoes? And I'll tell you like this: Miguel Cotto casts a large shadow in Puerto Rican boxing. But you beat Jaron Ennis in New York City. Now all of a sudden, I think them shoes are gonna start fitting quite nicely on Xander Zayas. So we'll see how it goes. But it's gonna be a very tough task on both sides for both guys. I think anybody who's telling you that Zayas is easy for Boots or Boots is easy for Zayas is full of shit. It's a top upper echelon elite creme de la creme fight. Yeah, I know you don't care, and nothing wrong with being critical. Nah, and the funny thing is, a lot of times people think I hate these fighters, and it's like I don't hate these fighters. I don't know most of these guys, to be honest with you. So I don't. I mean, I talk about boxing because I like it and it's part of my job. But like, I don't hate these guys. My life is too good. My life is too blessed to hate any of these guys. I see. Where is Miguel Leo? Miguel Leo is out and about. That's partially why I have time to do this live. I see Rabasi is working Robert Garcia. Do you think he can make another run? I feel like he had some real unfulfilled talent. I personally do not think he can make another run in the featherweight division. But if there was a guy that I think could turn him around, I mean, I don't know if Robert Garcia is the guy for the job because Robert Garcia has a particular style he trains. But I like Rabasi. He's a good fighter. But personally, I think 126 is too deep. True. I'm gonna look for that. I'll be studying Xander leading up to this fight. I'm telling just okay. I'm gonna give y'all a homework assignment. All right. I'm gonna give you guys a homework assignment. The one Xander Zayas fight you need to go watch if you haven't already watched it. Just go back and watch this fight with Quincy Lavalis. Quincy Lavalis. It was a fight from like I'm gonna say 4 years ago. Now, obviously, nobody's Jaron Ennis. I'm not sitting here saying that he's Jaron Ennis because he's not. But Quincy Lavalis is a crafty fighter. He's slick. He moves well. He doesn't throw out the he doesn't have the power of Jaron Ennis, and he doesn't really have anywhere close to the offense of Jaron Ennis. But he's probably the closest thing in terms of slickness and craft that Xander has fought to Jaron Ennis, and he even has like really flamboyant trunks with tassels on him. So that kind of makes it feel a bit more like Boots. But go watch that fight, and just go watch watch Xander punch selection. Watch how he pinned him to the ropes. Watch those things, and I think you'll start seeing a little bit what I'm talking about. So what if Boots go in there and outbox Zayas and hurt him? That's possible. That really depends on two things. Number one, that depends on can Jaron Ennis consistently slip the Xander Zayas jab? Can he beat Xander Zayas to the punch and get that lead foot leverage and win the battle of real estate in the ring? No, Boots is talented. I'm not writing off either of these guys. Um, I, I I'm asking, I'm begging for Jaron Ennis to show himself to be a complete fighter because I don't view Jaron Ennis as a complete fighter. I think he's a versatile fighter, but I don't view him as complete because I've seen some holes in this game. So this is the fight where I want to see the whole package. I want to see the defense. I want to see the counter jab. I want to see you slip the jab. I want to see you angle off on him. I want to see you beat him up in the pocket. I want to see you parry. I want to see everything. I want Jaron Ennis in this fight to show me that he is what he was advertised to be, which is a complete fighter. I want to see all that. If Boots goes undisputed at 54, will you give him credit? Why would I not give him credit? If he goes 54 undisputed, that means he'll have beaten Xander Zayas and Sebastian Fundura, right? And probably those two guys. Why would I not give him credit for that? That's dumb. That sounds counterproductive. That sounds like if I didn't give Jaron Ennis or anybody credit for going undisputed in this crop of 154, that's I'm just being a miserable fuck at that point. I'm not being real. I'm not being fair. Anybody who goes undisputed, in this weight class deserves credit. BT, why isn't Shakur in the Puerto Rican successor conversation? Because he's not marketed as a Puerto Rican fighter, but we all know he's the best. We all know he's the best Puerto Rican fighter. Like honestly, yeah, I agree. Because for example, Karen would have near made Bud look like Boots did in their first fight. I don't think so. Boots has more avenues to win. It would appear like that. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I would say, nah. Does he? Does he? Does he really? I know. I think he's the stronger fighter in terms of like. Does he really? I don't know. I don't see it that way. I think it's a great fight. Who do you got in the Fundora versus Kelly? You know who I got. It's not because you're PBC. I got Fundora. I think Fundora will beat the shit out of Kelly. I think Boots doesn't need as much as a game plan as Zayas does. Well, I think Boots has more firepower than Zayas. So if they get in the pocket and they exchange, I think the advantage will go to Boots. But again, see, like I'm saying these things. Look, like let's be real. Let's talk real for a second. Boots has boxed this many rounds at 154. Let's be real. He boxed this many rounds at 154, and he boxed the Angolan animal Usima Lima. So it's like, yeah, he looked strong. Yeah, he was explosive. Yeah, we can say that about him, but it was Usima Lima. So it's like, to me, still kind of hard to gauge what he is at 54. So almost every and anything you say about Boots, you're using fights from like 147. And my thing is, and I'm really intrigued to see because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen in the first 3 rounds for sure. Xander's gonna throw a punch. It'll be a jab or a right hand or something, and Boots will slip it, and Boots will counter. And when Boots lands that first counter shot or that first significant shot of the fight, how does Xander take it? And if Xander takes it well, and if Xander shows himself to be a guy that can punch in between the shots of Boots and hold his ground, then does Boots have a plan? Can Boots win if things don't go his way and he's not having fun? Because he's always talking about having fun. Oh, I didn't look good against Karen because I wasn't having fun. Well, what if it's a harder fight in the pocket than you anticipated? Because this kid is young and he's strong, and I'm just saying, I have my questions. It annoys me that he didn't even. It annoys me he even did that fight. Why does he need to acclimate? He's like a middleweight. I think he punched hard at 54. He does. No, he definitely does. That's not even a debate. Jaron Ennis is punching holes through shit at 54. I have no doubt about it. Like, he looked stronger. He looked like he retained a lot more strength in that one round that we saw, that one round ass beating. But again, like Usima Lima is not close to that. He's not close to Xander's eyes. Not close. He couldn't touch Xander's eyes with a 15-foot pole. So yeah. But anyway, guys, shout out to everyone here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable, True School Sports Empire. We're here. We're live, enjoying a nice day off, letting the muscles recuperate. Hope everybody's great. Hope everybody's living a blessed and great life. And I hope everybody's first quarter of 2026 has went well. It's been pretty slow for me, but I'm sure things will pick up here as the year progresses. But yeah, man, get your questions in. If you got anything to say about today's press conference, get that in. If you're Team Boots, let me know in the comments. If you're Team Zayas, let me know in the comments. May 9th, Angel, Leo, Rai, Salim, all that stuff. We just here, man. We here talking to the people because it's been 10 days, and it's been 10 days too long. Is Masamichi Ibuki versus Rene Calixto a good fight? I've only seen a little bit of Rene Calixto, to be honest with you. And from what I remember, he's like tough, strong Mexican, typical Mexican fighter. I don't really care if it's a good fight. I'm just happy to see Ibuki back in the ring. That's one of my favorite fighters to watch. That's what I'm saying. Guitars, guns, cars, boxing. That's how I feel. I feel like Xander Zayas, if he wins, it'll be by decision, and if Boots wins, it'll be like knockout. It'll be by like a stoppage. Hyro says, I don't think Boots' IQ is that high. What do you think of Hitchens and Berlanga at Zuffa Boxing? I made a video about it that I'll be posting soon, but it's hilarious that Zuffa Boxing started off with this whole notion of like, oh, we're gonna only do the original 8 weight classes. Like, we're gonna only do bantamweight. We're gonna only do featherweight. We're only gonna do lightweight, welterweight, and the original weight classes. There wasn't gonna be no junior or super weight classes in boxing. And now they signed 2 guys from weight class they said they wouldn't promote. So are they going to bend the rules? Are they going to have 140? Are they going to have 168? I think they will. Starting with Hitchens, because I feel like there's a lot more to unpack with Hitchens. Hitchens looks like looks like a coward, honestly, just because he pulled out of the Duarte fight last minute, and now he's going and running over there to Zuffa and hiding out. So he don't really care about his legacy. The IBF's gonna strip him soon. Berlanga, I think Berlanga is actually probably the better signing for Zuffa, because Berlanga, he's a guy that in this social media era, attention is currency, and he has it in spades. People can say what they want about Edgar, love him or hate him, but when he does anything, it gets your attention. It gets people's attention. It gets people talking. It gets a lot of engagement on social media. So, I think it'd be good for him. But my whole thing with Zuffa, right? And this is why I like, even when I cover their cards here on YouTube and make videos, it's like, okay, what do all these fights lead to? Like the other night, right? Tony Hirsch Jr., really good fighter. He was in camp with us, with Angelo Leo, in preparation for his fight with Robert Merriweather Jr. And he put a beat down. He handed out a boxing lesson and an ass whooping of epic proportions to Robert Merriweather III. Okay, so he beats Robert Merriweather III, but like, what's next? Like with Zuffa, I feel like they have all this money, and they have and they have all these young fighters or whatever, but like there's no real plot. You understand? Like there's no real, like, there's structure in terms of the fight dates they have, but there's no structure in terms of like, okay, you beat this guy and you fight that guy. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the weird thing about talking about these signings. It's like, okay, you signed with Zuffa Boxing. Congrats on your money. What's the big fight for Berlanga or Hitchens? Did you see Tamura Suboy say he wants to fight Bam? I love that fight. Listen, and that's why that's a big reason why I absolutely hate and detest all this Inoue Bam talk, because Bam already didn't fight Kenshiro Taraji, right? And now you got a guy who's younger, who's fresher, in Tamura Suboy than a guy like Kenshiro was, and he's got a big boxing pedigree, just skill set off the charts. That's one of the best technical fights in the whole sport of boxing. And nobody's talking about it because Tomoya Suboy doesn't have the profile yet. He's not as known as Inoue or Jules Nakatani or those kind of guys. But that's Bam's ~1 contender. And he's fighting this weekend against Pedro Guevara. So that's the fight that should be happening. I love that fight. And I've been saying for a while that if boxing really is about the best fighting the best, then one of the fights we will be getting right now and talking about is Bam versus Tomoya Suboy. So I love that fight. Wow, Tony Hirsch fought Robert. Robert is a prospect the old promoters would build slowly. Yeah, and he beat him. Outclassed him. Gave him a boxing lesson. In a way, about to pull Bam's card. He gonna say, "Come to 122 with my last fight, my last shot." Oh, I'm tired. I'm just tired. I'm tired of hearing about that fight. I really am, because Inoue is I view Inoue as an all-time great fighter. I think he's one of the most special fighters that I'll ever see in my lifetime. And while he's still here, I want to see him in a scenario which I feel will create the most history, most excitement, and really pose the biggest threats to him. And I feel like I really genuinely feel to the core of my bones all those things are at featherweight, and not just with Angelo, but like even like Rafael Espinoza. There's a lot of people in the world that think that Rafael Espinoza, because of his size, because of his volume punching, because of his toughness and his tenacity, would beat Naoya in a way. Now, I don't think that, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people want to see that fight. That's a big fight. Some people like Shushu Carrington, right? Why not run it there? Why wait? Like, you've been dragging your feet, and you're still dragging your feet to come to featherweight. What and then what? And then you're gonna fight Bam. And then if Tenshin Nasukawa beats Gaio Estrada, then you're gonna fight Tenshin next after that? Like, come on, man. What are we doing, man? It's getting to the point where it's like you either want to come to featherweight or you don't want to come to featherweight. What's crazy is I think Bam will be like a pit stop side mission like he just did 4 times last year. He's going to 126 regardless. I don't know, man, because I feel like if he stays fighting at 122, let's just say he fights Junto Nakatani and let's say he loses. Let's say he loses to Junto, right? Well, then guess what? Now he can't come to 126. He has to fight Junto in a rematch because it's a big, lucrative rematch at the Tokyo Dome, right? And then let's just say the second fight's really hellacious. Now I got to retire. You see what I'm saying? So like you wasting time, man. Do you feel like it's Inoue or his handlers and promoters? I think Inoue has a say for sure because he's one of those guys in boxing. But Mr. Honda and Hideki Ohashi, um, they have a plan, and these guys are smart people. They know who the real threats are in and around Inoue's weight class. One of them is sitting in that room over there, right over there. you know, but yeah, no, like I just want to see Inoue because there's only been 6 fighters in boxing history to become a five division champion. Don't you guys want to see if Inoue can become the seventh? You got Crawford, Pacquiao, Mayweather, Leonard, Duran, Hearns, and I think De La Hoya. So he'd be like the seventh or the eighth. Nah, I feel you. I always thought that fight would happen at 126, but I guess Inoue wanted Junto close to his prime. No, and I respect that. I respect that. I just wish. See, this isn't the fighter's fault. It's not Inoue or Junto's fault that these guys are fighters. At the end of the day, like they're gonna fight. I would have liked to have seen Inoue and Junto just wait, pause. I thought the fights in Saudi were unnecessary. I really did because I feel like now Junto showed some chinks in the armor, and now people aren't as sure about Junto anymore. You know, um, I think they should have just waited and promoted the fight. Because like, look, if one of them would have went over there to Saudi and got knocked out, then boom, your fight would have been in smokes. Yo-Yo Hernandez at 120, at 160. Boots beat his ass in sparring. I watched it in the gym with my own eyes. Boots had outboxed and embarrassed a lot of y'all fair fighters. I'm telling you. Yeah, but Yo-Yo Hernandez is kind of overrated, bro. I'm not really too like Yo-Yo Hernandez is cool, but he's a big fish in a small pond. Everybody just dick riding Yo-Yo Hernandez because he's a scary Cuban who's big and strong. He's got a little bit of skills and he's in an extremely weak ass weight class. So I mean, I don't doubt that Boots beat the shit out of Yo-Yo Hernandez. But I also don't doubt that Xander Zayas beat the dog shit out of Omari Jones, like he said at the press conference today. So I mean, fighters have their good days in sparring, they have their bad days in sparring. I don't seen it with my own eyes. Plenty of top fighters have good days and bad days in sparring. So all that matters is June 27th. Do you think Inoue wants a big Vegas fight? Because I know Figgy and Espinosa can give him that big one. Um, you think Figueroa is a big fight in Vegas? I mean, Yo-Yo Hernandez is, in my opinion, he's okay. Do you think Inoue wants a big? He already had. I mean, he fought Cardenas at T-Mobile Arena last year. I think that was in his mind a big Vegas fight. I think he wants to fight in New York at MSG. BT, do you think Tank? Do you think Tank stops Pitbull in the rematch? You think we ever? There's not one fighter on this entire earth that I would favor against Shakur Stevenson. I want to make that very clear. Um, as far as Tank and Pitbull in the rematch, I mean, we got to see if Tank can stay out of trouble because Tank's always getting in trouble these days. He hasn't been very, very stable, and I have a very good friend who sparred him before he went to jail this last time, so I know some things about Tank. But nah, I don't think he's stopping Pitbull in the rematch. You don't take any stock in what Yo-Yo did to Kyron Davis. That was a good win. Was a good win. Kyron, I'll say that was a good win. It's just that people is doing too much for Yo-Yo. Like I'm sorry. Like 160 is like the sorriest weight class in boxing, and y'all talking about Yo-Yo like he's the messiah. He's a good fighter. I think he's good. I think he's solid. Hyro saying that Yo-Yo Hernandez would stop Ian Green at 160. First of all, no, he wouldn't. Second of all, Ian Green's at 168. Third of all, Yo-Yo Hernandez is big as shit. He shouldn't even be at 160. His ass should be at like light heavyweight. He's huge. If y'all have never seen Yo-Yo Hernandez in person, it's crazy, bro. But nah, he wouldn't do that to Ian Green. Yo-Yo scraped Goucher. I knew he was, and the thing is, I knew he was gonna scrape Terrell Goucher. That's why if you go back and you watch my interview with Terrell Goucher, I asked Terrell Goucher. I said, "Look, are you gonna let your hands go? Because you have the habit in these fights of not letting your hands go, and you let yourself down sometimes." And guess what happened? Yo hit him a couple of times. He stopped letting his hands go, and the referee waved it off. So I wasn't shocked. Do you think Shakur is limited offensively? He seems to be exceptional everywhere else. Do I think he's limited offensively? Yeah, I do. A little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, he doesn't have that like next level explosiveness. He's not creative like a Jaron Ennis is offensively, but I mean, you don't necessarily have to be as creative offensively if you're able to control the space and the pace of a fight like he can. You understand? I think in a way, and Figgy would do numbers in Vegas, Mexican versus Japanese in America. It'd be cool. It'd be cool. Can I tell you how this? Can I tell you guys how this is all gonna end? I'm gonna tell you guys how the script's gonna go, because this is how it's supposed to go. You know, Inoue will do his thing, Angelo will do his thing, and the fight to make in boxing one day is going to be Naoya Inoue versus Angelo Leo for undisputed at the MGM Grand. That's how it's gonna go for all the marbles. That's how I think it's gonna go. So yeah, I mean, get your shoes in, get your Espinosas in, whatever you want, champ. But the final boss will be Angelo Leo. Although we'll likely never see it, how do you think Kerr versus Key would play out? Shakur versus Keyshawn Davis? I'm still picking Shakur. But it'd be a good fight. Be a good fight. I think Keyshawn can box pretty well from the outside, and he's meaner. I think that Shakur wins as long as he doesn't get hurt. Because if he gets hurt in that fight, then just start the bus. Keyshawn Davis packing him up. Yo-Yo can beat Xander. No, he can't. He's not like he's cool. He's like that. See, if y'all want to know a fighter in boxing, because I feel like everybody has fighters where that other people hype up that people don't think are that good. Like Yo-Yo he's a solid. He's good. He's solid. But like y'all doing too much for Yo-Yo, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what did Yo-Yo do? Like what did he do to get all this hype? What fight did he win? What did he like? He's passed some very good tests. I will give him that. Goucher and Kyron Davis and beating the brakes off these guys, it's really really good. But it's like y'all talking about him like he's the second coming of fucking Thomas Hitman Hearns. Yes, BT Yo-Yo can beat Xander. Will he though? Well, look, whether Xander wins or loses against Boots, I don't think it's going to be that long before Xander's at middleweight. So I'll tell you this: tell Yo-Yo to go win a world title. All right, go win a world title at 60 and just hold it. Just hold it and just defend it as many times as possible, and you will get a big fight one day. And then show. Like I'm not even saying like I'm not even sitting here trying to say I don't like him. I actually like Yo-Yo, but y'all be doing too much. I don't like when people start crowning fighters too. It pisses me off. Nah, I don't think so. He's a good fighter. He's a good upcoming fighter who's passed some tests against good veteran fighters. Y'all over here making him out to be this killer, this boogeyman. Like, nah, man. Like now, go knock out Laura. Go beat Johnny Beck or someone like that. Then I could say okay. Yo-Yo and Iglesias are the true boogeymen out here. I'm not, man. Iglesias maybe, because he's with Eye of the Tiger Promotions and has little to no money being funneled behind him, but not Yo-Yo. Y'all doing too much with that Yo-Yo talk. And God forbid Yo-Yo get cracked the wrong way. I don't even. I had nothing against Yo-Yo, but it's just you guys that do too much. BT, Terry got to use Yo-Yo to beat Adamas to avenge. You know what? If Yo-Yo is what you guys say he is, that's the fight I need to see. You give me Yo-Yo versus Carlos Adamas. If he treats Carlos Adamas the way he treated Kyron Davis and Terrell Goucher, you gotta believe in me. But right now, y'all doing way too damn much. You used to hype Philip Hergovich, and we told you he wasn't that good. He's still one of the better heavyweights out there, and he's still only 30. Listen, he's still only 33. Hyro, heavyweights mature later, so yeah, my belief ain't what it used to be, but I'm still holding out hope. Johnny Beck, come on, BT. I mean, Johnny Beck was the guy of the division. I think the hype comes from the Kyron Davis win because Davis did well for a later placement for Dave Benavidez, but I think Yo-Yo is a top tier. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like to me, he's a big fish in an extremely small pond. So the only way I'm gonna believe in Yo-Yo is it's gonna be one of only two things. Either A, he needs to become a world champion like his next fight or by the end of this year. And then when he gets that belt, I need to see him defend that shit like 6 times. Like just have a dominant reign. Even if he fights just all cans, just wipe them all out one by one by one. And let me know. And then I'm like, okay, this guy's a long reigning champion. This guy's the real deal. Now I can get behind him. Does he have potential? Yeah. Are the tools there? For sure. Is he doing some great things? 1000%. But y'all talking about like no one can beat him. Like, come on. Adamas is ducking Yo-Yo. He said he wants Adamas. He be saying it on the Spanish podcast. Well, okay, well, then if Adamas is ducking Yo-Yo, then then Adamas is on some bullshit. But Adamas also wants to make some money. And right now, there's no money. Let's be real. Like, if we could just be real for a second, there's no money in fighting Yo and Elise Hernandez. We got to find people willing to sacrifice their careers for Yo-Yo, man. They're hard to come by. Well, then you gotta tell the people that run Yo-Yo's career to offer the people some money to fight Yo-Yo. That's what you do. If a guy is higher risk, low reward, then you gotta sometimes overpay these guys, you know? Who do I think would win between Iglesias and Shiraz? Oh, that's a good fight. Maybe Iglesias. No, you know I'm right. There's no money in fighting him right now. So my thing is, if you're his management, the only way you're gonna alleviate that is you gotta keep him active, you gotta keep him busy, you gotta you gotta make sure that you raise his commercial value so much so to the point where now it's worth the incentive for these fighters to get in the ring with him. You know, would I favor Najee Lopez over Ben Whitaker or Dave Morrell? I you know what? I'd favor him. I think Najee Lopez could beat Dan Morrell right now. Dan Morrell's not punching like that at 175. He's still good. I mean, he's not pillow fisted, but he's not the puncher at 75 that he was 68. And like you've already seen that in a couple instances. Like you saw that against Katayev, that got him in trouble. And then even against Hot Rod, he struggled a little bit. So I think Najee Lopez versus Dan Morrell would be a great fight if Pro Box and you know the fine folks at PBC were willing to make that fight. Ben Whitaker, though, I'll tell you this: Ben Whitaker. I made a video earlier. I got to edit it later. I think Ben Whitaker versus Morrell would be a great fight because I think, like I said, Morrell isn't punching at 75 like he was at 68, and I still don't think he's fully adapted his style for like how he has to win at light heavyweight. Because when you scale weight classes, you can't you oftentimes you don't fight the same way because guys are bigger. Sometimes you don't punch harder. Your power doesn't carry you up. You understand? So Dan Morrell skipped steps in his development, and it's showing in these past few fights. He did. No, he did. They fast tracked him. They really put him in some really tough fights early on. I think they should scale him back a little bit because his 3 fights at light heavyweight have all been like really tough fights. He fought Hot Rod, then he fought Benavidez, and then he fought Katayev. So if I was in a management position of Luis Tacuba, I would put him in like his next 2 fights. Decent, solid, credible guys just to kind of get some rounds in and kind of really figure himself out more as a light heavyweight, and then you put him into a big fight. Or if you want to give him a big fight, I say you let him fight Ben Whitaker, because Ben Whitaker is very talented and he's a dangerous fighter, but he's still green enough in the professional ranks to where if Morrell were to fight him now, I think Morrell could probably beat him. But if you wait like a fight or 2 more, then you're gonna have some problems. Let me see. But guys, look, I've reached the 2 hour mark. I hit the 2 hour mark. I think I'm gonna go ahead and probably wrap it up because I gotta get some more rest. Let me see. Just came in live. Who you got? Choose school. I don't have a prediction yet. I actually don't have a prediction yet. I don't have any prediction on the fight. I think I'm gonna just wait, watch some tape, review. I probably won't even say who I think's gonna win till fight week, because initially it was Boots. Now I'm having reservations. I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna chill and I'm gonna wait and we'll see what I have on fight week. Till then, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I think their strengths and weaknesses are, and I'm gonna keep reviewing and reviewing and reviewing, and then I'll let you guys know something close to the fight. But let me see if we got any questions, guys, because I hit the 2 hour mark, and I do got some other things I do got to attend to on this rare off day of camp. But if you didn't hear me say it already, guys, May 9th, I know there's a lot of great fights going on in boxing, and you could say there's fights that are bigger fights too, for sure. But don't forget about May 9th. Angelo Leo versus Ryan Sunley, Atlanta, Georgia, the Zone. That's why I'm here in camp. That's why these muscles look more chiseled. That's why the chin looks more chiseled, because we're in camp, film studying, wrestling bears, running the mountains, sleeping early, all that blase that happens in training camps. So yeah, don't forget. Hey Susem, what's good, champ? What's good? You got here just in time for the last handful of minutes. Can you name some unknown prospects? I want to study some of the unknown talent. Some unknown prospects. Well, one guy that a lot of people don't know about, if you don't watch Japanese boxing, is a guy named Tomoya Tsuboi. He was pretty good he was pretty good in the fast track game. I like him a lot. Jamal Harvey's another one, young prospect, Olympian from the USA. You got him. You had that one guy that fought on Zuffa Boxing that I'm really a big fan of. Umar, I'm not even sure how to spell his name, but Umar Dimjekov. He just knocked out Ahmed El Biali on Zuffa. He's pretty good. I like him a lot. Who else you got? You got Akeem Cheatham. He's a guy I like in Vegas. He's pretty good. Akeem Cheatham. There's all kinds of talent. There's all kinds of talent. Mikey D 50 he says, "How's Angelo doing? Tell Miguel Mike Sandoval said what's up." Well, Miguel's not here right now. Miguel's out and about, but when he gets back, I'll let him know that you said what's up. And Angelo's doing well. He's outside somewhere. I think he's on the phone. I wanted Angelo to come on. Let me see what this man's doing. Yeah, he's on the phone. He's on the phone. I think he's just enjoying his off day. So let me see. DT Zayas is being criticized for being too green versus Ennis, but what soft mandatory bouts will make him better? What soft? Well, right now neither guy has a soft mandatory. Both guys got to prepare for each other. But I'm I mean, look, man, you can't cheat the grind. You can't rush the process. It's process. I feel like Xander fought good game guys on the way up. Boots has fought a couple good opponents like Stanianis and guys like that. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what it is on the 26th or whatever they fight. Mar the Prince says Dwight Flemings Jr. is fighting this week. He's a good. I like Dwight. That's one guy. That's a name right there. Dwight Flemings Jr. Yeah, my boy Ian Green put me on to him because Ian Green and him used to spar a lot. Because Dwight Flemings Sr. used to train Ian Green, and so that's how I know who Dwight Flemings Jr. is. He's got a pretty good fight coming up this week against Jan Marcos on Pro Box. So if you guys are looking for a really good like sleeper fight between fighters you never heard of, that's probably the fight you want to watch on Pro Box on the undercard this weekend of Vita Monecki. Mikey D505 says he thinks that Virgil Ortiz beats both of them. I don't think that. I definitely don't think that. I think Virgil will beat Sebastian Fundura. I think Boots will probably beat. I think Boots would beat Virgil, and I think Zayas and Virgil is actually a pretty competitive fight. It's damn near pick 'em. But to each his own. BT, are you surprised Yuka Fujiki is not debuting on the Inoue Nakatani undercard? I'm not that surprised about it because I mean the kid is young. You know, maybe they didn't want that to be his first fight, and that's understandable because that's a big stage. Yeah, I mean they're gonna do what they feel is the best for Yuga Fujiki. Speaking of Yuga, they need to free my boy Yuga Osaki, but that's neither here nor there. You know, that's the only Yuga I really care about in Japan. But Yuga Fujiki's good. Virgil is an easier style for Boots because of Virgil's style. Zayas is more tougher. I think I agree. That's what I was saying. A lot of people got mad at me when this fight first got signed, and people were still kind of hung up on Virgil versus Boots. I said that, and a lot of Boots fans got mad at me. They're like, "No, Virgil's harder than Xander." But no, I'm like, "No, he's not. Virgil comes there in a high guard, and he's there to fight. And you know, Xander's gonna make you move, and he's got a deeper punch selection, and he can counter. And you know, I personally think too, Xander Zayas is the mentally more confident fighter than Virgil. You may not believe that, but I believe that. I think Virgil. I just think Virgil Ortiz. He's got a lot of things going on outside the ring that are hindering him. You know, it sucks too because I like him a lot. I think we might not see Virgil Ortiz win a world title until he goes to become middleweight. Maybe maybe Virgil Ortiz can beat Yo-Yo Hernandez. Maybe that'll be a fight one day. Virgil Ortiz versus Yo-Yo Hernandez. Robert Garcia is the key that makes Virgil Ortiz dangerous. I hear you. He's a great trainer. Great game. I'm sure if he fights any of these guys, they'll come up with great game plans. You know, but like all these guys got great coaches. Like Xander got Javier Centeno. Javier Centeno was the guy that trained George Kambosos to beat Teofimo Lopez and authored one of the biggest upsets in the history of boxing. So I mean, he's done great things in the fight game. He was an understudy of Angelo Dundee. You got Bozy Ennis, you know, great trainer from Philadelphia. Comes from a boxing family. Was professional himself. You know, he knows the ins and outs of the fight game, right? And then you know you got Robert Garcia, a guy who was a world champion. So all these guys are fantastic trainers. You know, if you get to this level where you're the world championship level, you know you've done something right because it's not easy. It's very very hard. You know, as Miguel Leo will tell you, Mikey, he'll be the first to tell you. Zayas will make you work to get your punches off. Virgil faces busting up every fight for real. It is. That's why like every fight he's got all this swelling. You know, looks like he's got a bunch of lava lamps on his eyes half the time. So yeah, I agree. Xander is the kind of guy that's going to make you battle for positioning a lot more. You know, that's how it goes. BT Robert Garcia says Bam and Muratai will have their fights very soon. Who do you suppose it is? Bam is probably going to fight for Undisputed against Walter Garcia, which kind of pisses me off because Ken Shiro was supposed to fight with Walter Garcia, and then Walter Garcia mysteriously just randomly pulled out with a with a sickness, and then he was in the hotel the next day eating at the buffet. So I didn't like that. I wanted to see Ken Shamrock get his chance to win that title and then get his chance to fight Bam because he's been calling out Bam for 3 years. But Bam will probably fight with Baldo Garcia, beat him, and become undisputed. And then as for Virgil, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. He says, I just discovered Angelo Leo from watching you. The dude is a warrior. I agree with that. I agree. And thank you, man. Is Virgil somewhat chinny, or is he just out of position and not responsible before getting cracked because he's always like a raging bull? I don't think Virgil's like chinny. Chinny is like what Amir Khan was. He's not that level of chinny. I think it's the latter. I think it's the latter. I think sometimes because he has this apex predator mentality, and he's just trying to get you out of there, and sometimes he puts himself out of position. So that's why in the Boachuk fight he was just getting hit with a lot of flash knockdowns. Why do people ignore the amount of times that Virgil Ortiz has been dropped? Because I guess the knockouts he produces and the stoppages and the entertainment value he brings, it kind of overshadows that. But I'm with you, champ. Like I thought Virgil lost to Boachuk. I thought Boachuk did enough to win that fight because it's like you got put on your ass 2 times. That's 2 10-8 rounds. So you mean to tell me you found all these rounds for Virgil that besides the knockout rounds? I didn't see it that way. I thought he lost that fight, and I thought that the powers that be protected their investment. Am I going to make a video about Jamal Charles' retirement? Did he retire? I didn't even know that. Boots would do Boachuk like he did Stanianis. Possibly. You know, we don't know. Fights. See, that's the thing with Boots. Is like we always hear like, oh, Boots would do this and Boots would do that, but like, you know, you can only go off of what's in the ring, right? So we know what Boots would do to Stanianis because he fought Stanianis. But in Boots' defense, you know, I'll give Boots this much. Boachuk didn't fight Boots because Tom Loeffler wanted Boachuk to fight on the Crawford Killer undercard against Brendan Adams, so he steered him in that direction. So that actually was a guy you could say, you know, he wasn't guided towards Boots. You could say that guy avoided Boots. Oh, he said Murataya. My bad. Murataya. I'm not really sure. I would like to see Murataya fight Shakur. I feel like that'd be a good fight. You know, Shakur stated that he's not really trying to stay at 140 pounds long term. So if he's going to go down to 135, what better fight to take than the guy that just beat Andy Cruz, right? And I got to give Murataya a lot of credit because he was a guy that early in his career I was critical of. You know, he didn't look great against Alani Ndengeni or Tevin Farmer, but that experience from those fights, it paid off a lot. So I like that fight. BT, do you think Boots is the most dangerous fighter across all weights in the first few rounds? I don't know if there's a most dangerous fighter. I feel like any fighter with 8-ounce gloves that can, you know, turn their punches over properly is dangerous. Is he the most dangerous? I'm not sure. He's very dangerous, though. I can tell you that. He's very, very dangerous. Shout out to Matt Borgeson with the $5 super chat. He says, how can we call something a good competitive fight when everyone knows who's going to win? In Boots versus Xander, the unknown isn't here. I disagree with you on that, Matt. I mean, to each his own. Everyone's just making it out like it's a foregone conclusion. I don't think that's how could you say that it's a foregone conclusion when Boots has never fought anybody as young and as big as Xander Zayas, and Xander Zayas can really box. Xander Zayas isn't pillow fisted. I mean, I think a lot of you guys are going to be in for a rude awakening come June. Whether he wins or loses, I'm saying like you're going to be in for a rude awakening in terms of his performance. And I don't give a damn what the result is. I'm talking about the performance. Like, y'all think Xander Zayas is sweet. You guys really want Xander Zayas to be a hype job because Top Rank pumped all this money into him and they They gave him the right fights at the right time. But guess what? They put him in there with good people that gave him the right experience. Guys like good veteran fighters like Quincy Lavalas, Jose Luis Sanchez, and the list goes on and on and on. Like those guys might not be big names or household names, but those are real professionals that at the stage he fought them gave him the experience to make him what he is right now, which is a two-time unified champion at the age of 23. We'll see. Okay, my bad, Matt. I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. He says no. I'm saying that people are saying that, not me. Okay, all right, yeah. A lot of people are saying that, and that's why I'm saying, like, to the Boots fans, if the fight isn't competitive and Xander isn't that good, then why am I going to put why should I put Jaron Ennis in the pound for pound list? He beat someone that wasn't that good. See, like for my favorite fighters, I don't care if it's Angelo Leo or Xander or Ian Green or Artur Beterbiev or Bivol, all these other guys I like. When my favorite fighters fight people, I never downplay them. I always say, you know what, no, that guy is really, really good. So that when they win, the guy that I like gets credit. So you're not gonna hear me say like, oh, Rice Salim is trash. You know, no, I'm gonna say Rice Salim is good. He's 23-1. You're gonna hear me say that he just beat one of the biggest punches in the division in Nakano, and that the only guy that beat him was Sam Goodman, and it was by a split decision. So therefore, it's possible you could view him as an undefeated fighter, so that when Angelo beats him, he gets credit. Like, and you guys need to start putting that into practice for your favorite fighters. Stop downplaying the opponent so damn much, because you're gonna downplay him so much that by the time your favorite guy does beat those guys, I don't gotta give him no credit. Matt Borgeson says, and thank you again, Matt, for the super chat. He says, I got Xander by majority decision for the fight. Xander is good. He's very good. He's very well rounded. Like I said, I named you guys two fighters in his career that gave him really good experience. Quincy Lavalas, Jose Luis Sanchez. Not household names, but guys that were real veteran pros that really prepared Xander for moments like these. Inoue said he's fighting one more guy at 122. Who do you think it is? It's gonna be either Bam or Ryosuke Nishida. He's gonna do something like that. It's gonna be Bam or Ryosuke Nishida, because Nishida is really popular in Japan. Now if he's gonna stay at 122 and I could choose who he has to fight, he should fight the guy that already beat Junta Nakatani. That's Sebastian Hernandez Reyes. I feel like Sebastian Hernandez Reyes put on a clinic in pressure fighting, and he won 8 rounds of the 12 against Junto, and they didn't give it to him because they had this date on hold, and they couldn't give him the fight because all the money went up in smoke. You know, it's too much business to be lost. Matt Borges says, I'm also tired of hearing people say he's not ready. Wilfred Benitez was younger than him, and he unified. He was ready. If you're unified, then you're ready. That's what I'm saying. Like, once you become champion, you go through the levels, you become all these things, you are ready for the big times. You're ready for the big fights. And guess what? If you ain't ready, then stop boxing. If you're scared, go to church. If you can't take the heat, stay out the damn kitchen. You know what I mean? So because the downside we see. True, but if it's easy work, you should be able to. You can say it's easy work. I'm not saying you can. I'm not saying to not have confidence in your skills, but like when I'm talking about the fans, like, because I'm hearing people say that Xander's not good, that he's a hype job, he's a Puerto Rican hype job, you know, all these kind of things, and it's like, okay, well, if he's a hype job, then why should anybody give a rat's ass if Boots beats him? He's beat a hype job. Go fight Yo-Yo. Go fight a real killer. Go fight Yo-Yo. Facts. The downside of hold on. I mean, I feel like every fighter should hype up their opponents, because you want to always say you beat good guys. What do you think of Shogo Tanaka? I just found out about him. Isn't he in Inoue's gym? To be honest with you, I don't know a ton about Shogo Tanaka. I've seen his name. I've heard a little bit about him, but I haven't like dug into him or studied him for myself yet. So I have a homework assignment to do, and there's always like fighters to catch up on. There's always fighters on the come up that you always gotta learn about. So I haven't watched or learned enough about them to give you like a real honest opinion, assessment, or anything like that. But I probably his name's been floated around out there. And the coaching says I'm going to the fight in June. I'll see you there. I'll be there myself. I'll be there myself, for sure. And hopefully, all you guys go out to the fight. This is a fight that deserves your support. You got two top fighters putting it all on the line, giving the boxing fans what they asked for, the best versus the best, unification fights. I mean, what more do you want? New York City, Barclays Center. I mean, what more do you want? Summertime. What more do you want? All right, let me see. Zayas has got more heart than Virgil. I mean, I think Virgil has heart. I don't want to downplay Virgil. I just think that Virgil has the wrong people around him, and you guys always hear me say this, and I'm gonna keep saying it till you guys fully get the picture of what I'm saying. A fighter is only as good as his team. So if the fighter is lacking, it's the team is lacking. So I think Virgil will fight anybody. I just think it's Rick Marigan, really Rick Marigan and all that stuff, and he's listening to the wrong people, and that's why he's in this position. So you know, I'll leave it at that. What do you think Reita Sutsumi should fix? His next fight has been announced. I mean, Reita Sutsumi, thus far, it's been pretty much smooth sailing. He hasn't had really anything to deal with in his career. He seems to be really good on the inside. He angles off really well. Has a good jab. He can punch. Bro, isn't a fighter who picks who is around him? Yeah, he is. That's what I'm saying. So the fighter has to know. He has to know and be very cognizant of who he keeps around him because that's gonna affect you. But guys, look. On that note, I think I'm gonna finally wrap it up. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you guys, going live, having fun. Just getting my little thoughts off about Virgil versus Boots. There's plenty of content coming out on the channel. I know these lives have been few and far between. I'm trying to not have this be a thing. So I promise that I'll get better this month. But yeah, you guys take care. Keep supporting the channel. Working very hard here in camp with Angelo. Studying for Rais Salim and just trying to defend this belt one more time so that we can get these big fights that you guys keep asking me about, like the Shushu, like the Espinoza and Figueroa and God willing one day in a way. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep getting stronger, and I'll see you guys on the next live. So you guys stay blessed, take care, and yeah, just keep supporting the